And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. The midweek edition of the Rob Brown Show is underway. Welcome in, y'all. Good to have you. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, how's everybody? Any of y'all get traded yesterday? Anybody made a move? No? Yes? Just Claypool and Chubb and Wilson and a few others? I did not. No trade. Sorry, I'm still here. Still part of the team.
I got traded like a year and a half ago or like 2 years ago, something like that.
You did. That's right. You did.
Yeah.
You did. Straight up player for player.
Actually, I think it might be coming up on 2 years. I could be wrong.
I think it was like it was
in December.
Was it?
Yeah, it was in December. Yes. It was a Christmas gift, if you will.
It was.
Yeah.
Has it been 2 years already?
I believe so, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I swear like 2 days ago, I got a text while we were on the show that was like, why aren't you and Zoe celebrating your 1 year anniversary together? And I thought that was like last week.
Nah, it was in December.
Steven said, I debated last night. Would it be easier to eat the mayo cold or room temperature? I'm glad we're starting off with that.
It's got to be room temperature.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I don't know. Now, that's a question I had not considered until right now. I actually don't know the answer to that.
Although I'm thinking of lukewarm mayonnaise.
I mean, it's fine, but again, like, I
will tell you, if I would have, and still can, because that can go back into my box. If I were to draw that, and just because one person gets that punishment doesn't mean another one can't. I'm going cold.
I think I am.
But it's not going to stay cold for the entire time.
If you're going cold, that's only relevant for like the first two breaks.
Yeah. Unless you put it in a cooler or something. Like bring it out each time you take a bite.
Dude. I think I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm leaning towards doing it tomorrow. Because here's the thing.
You really don't want to do it Friday. You should have did it today. You just didn't bring it.
Here's where the thought comes. So tonight I've got to run up to Furman for a little while because we're rehearsing. We're doing a dry run through and a what do you call it in acting? A rehearsal. We're doing a dry run of Hoops Night tonight. So I got to be at Furman tonight. Got to be at Furman tomorrow for Hoops Night. I'm co-emceeing tomorrow night.
Who are you co-emceeing with?
Miss Anna Catherine, who is a cheerleading coach / the Furman Sports In-Arena host for all their events. She is also my co-host / fill-in for the Swamp Rabbits. So we kind of got each other's back in this stuff. We worked together at the Swamp Rabbits game last weekend. We're working together at Hoops Night tomorrow night. So I got to be there tonight. I got to be there tomorrow night. And then I've got, obviously, Burns football on Friday, right? Saturday, I got nothing to do. Honestly, I considered asking Lonzo, could I get permission from he and y'all to watch to do like a Clemson Notre Dame watch along, right? And do it during the Clemson Notre Dame game Saturday night, right? I was like, okay, it's going to be 3 hours 15. So like a slightly longer amount of time to get it done. But I don't run the risk of, hey, everybody, welcome out to Furman. I got to go. Be right back.
See, I just want to point out, off the air, I've been trying to get him to go with the smaller jar. I really have, because I don't think this is going to end well. I don't. And I don't think it would have ended well no matter who pulled this.
It's supposed to end well. That's the point.
Right. But at the same time, don't want to cost you money because it doesn't end well. during this show, believe it or not, if you get sick, I got you. So I mean, I'm good for a segment or two alone, maybe. I will allow that. I won't do a whole show, but I'll do a segment.
For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, that are like, what the hell's going on right now? Rob Brown took his first L in the Boo Box Bets segments this past week and had to draw from the Boo Box yesterday. I drew, there were like 4 punishments that went into both my and Lonzo's Boo Boxes. One of them.
But Rob didn't know,
I honestly thought you would have pulled this one. I thought you would have replaced this one with something else. I assume this one was not in there. And so I had to pull from the Boo Box for the first time yesterday. And in doing so, drew the punishment of eat a jar of Duke's mayo during the show. And there's no problem with that. That's a punishment. That is one that we came up with. And there's no problem with doing it during the show, because I don't think that any issues that may arise from that, I don't think that will, if it happens in the show, it'll happen towards the very end of the show.
I don't think so. I think I'll make it probably halfway. But I think that's probably, I mean, we can start the bets right now about how long it takes before things come back the other way. As far as the mayonnaise goes. But it would be better for you to do it during the show, because you owe our listeners, that.
You're right. That's fair.
And the other thing is, and I know that's going to sound, but if you do get ill from it, you've got the entire day to recover. The entire day. I mean, because you can leave at 12 and use the mayonnaise as an excuse if you want to. And you could go home and lay down for a while.
Sleep it off, slugger. I don't know, man. Like I think tomorrow's the day. And I think it's for exactly that reason, right? Because what I'll end up doing is we'll cut the Friday pod on Friday right after the show. If I need to do it that way. And that gives me at least a handful of hours tomorrow after the show's over to then get ready for Hoops Night at Furman. Whereas on Friday, if I'm at Hoops Night, worst case scenario, should the worst happen, Anna Catherine's there. She's got it. I can be like, hey, I'll be right back. I got to take a phone call. Right. And I can go knock that out. And then it is what it is. If it's Friday night and I'm at the booth at Burns, at Hillcrest.
Hillcrest was right over there, basically. Yeah. I mean,
If I'm in the booth at Hillcrest on Friday night and nature calls, or should I say nature hates me because I ate a jar of mayo earlier in the day, there's no escaping that situation, right? There's no escaping that situation. I am at the point there where it's like, sorry, everybody in the box. It's 3rd and 1 from the 32-yard line.
I think
Shaw drops back in the pocket.
Yeah, and you're wearing a headset, Mike. There's no way you're getting that thing off in time. So, I mean, I think your best bet is to do it during this program, because I got you here. And elsewhere, it's not going to happen. Steven suggested during the Upstate Pulse he can't, because he's going to be watching the Clemson game, so he can't do both at the same time. And plus, I don't want to cross punishments. And plus, if he did it on the Pulse, he'd have to do it quicker.
And yeah, it's only 2 hours.
Yeah, he'd have 2 hours. So
there is a part of me.
I do have an open chair Saturday. But
I'm approaching this with the strategy, Lonzo. I'm approaching this with the strategy of, do I knock as much as I can down right out of the gate, right? Do I try to get half the jar down in the initial go and just try to get as much as I can out of the way early, right? You ever done a chicken wing eating contest? The goal is to stuff as many down the gullet as you can before your gut goes, dude, what the hell?
This will surprise a lot of people, but I've never been in an eating contest.
Okay.
I
have when I was much, much younger. I developed a strategy, which is you jam as much food as you can.
Not going to work. Not going to work for mayonnaise.
Before you got to hit the Kobayashi shake.
Yeah. Yeah. With a gullet full of mayonnaise, the Kobayashi shake is a mistake.
Yeah, I think so. So there's two strategies here, right? Well, there's technically three available strategies. Strategy number one is I figure out exactly how many ounces of mayo fit into a spoonful. And then I figure out how many spoonfuls I've got to get done. And then I divide that effectively by 9, right? Because I've got 3 breaks an hour. So I've got 3 hours. I've got 9 breaks to get as many down. So whatever the number is divided by 9, and I know how many spoonfuls per break I've got to put down. The other option is to just hammer down as much as I can right at the beginning of the show. And then I can kind of like coast my way through the jar the rest of the show. But I think the one I'm leaning towards, though, is to know how many, to do like one per break until the last break, and then just clean up in the last break, just finish the jar. Because if there is a emergency response from that, at least when it happens, I know I'll be off the air.
You're going to have way too much left. I mean, depending on how big the spoonfuls are, you can have way too much left to do what you're planning on doing.
See, I don't know.
Now, if you went 2 spoonfuls,
so here's what I've got in my head.
Maybe that'll work.
Here's what I've got in my head: a tablespoon, like a regular, not like a heaping tablespoon, but a tablespoon, though, works out to be about 0.75 ounces. Right? A tablespoon.
I think you're overthinking this, but that's fine.
You know me. I overthink everything. A tablespoon is about 0.75. If you just do a regular tablespoon, it's about 0.75 ounces, right? So if you were just doing it that way, for a 32-ounce jar, you're looking at about 41 spoonfuls, but that's a leveled off tablespoon. I am pretty sure I can get, because it's not liquid, I'm pretty sure I can probably get 2 tablespoons per dip, right? Then I think if I use a spoon bigger than a tablespoon, I can knock down 2.5, maybe 3 tablespoons per go, which would really only cut it down to like 12 spoonfuls, which is pretty much a hefty spoonful every break. And then the last hour, 2 or 3 spoonfuls per break. And I think that's the direction I'm going to go, unless I get the rumble guts early in the show and I know, okay, I'm going to hurl. This is going to happen. In which case I just pound it all down as quickly as I can and prepare myself to tell Zoe, hey, you might have to lead the next segment. I might be needing a minute.
I just had an idea. I don't know why I didn't think about this before. And I don't have a problem with this. I don't think anybody else would. Duke's has flavored mayo.
Yeah, I saw yesterday they have a hint of lime.
Oh, there's more than that. They have habanero garlic. They have cucumber dill. They have red pepper. They also have bacon and tomato.
That could help. That could help.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's our contest. I mean, does it have to be straight up mayonnaise? Can it be a flavored mayonnaise?
I would say it does, right? Like the spirit of this punishment was based on plain mayo.
Okay.
I know I'm making it worse on myself.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help.
The Madre is, I got off the air yesterday.
You could go light mayo. I'm okay with light mayo.
Duke's Light?
Yeah. I mean, if they make that, I don't know if they do or not.
I got off the air yesterday. Got done, finished up the work, uploaded our podcast clips. And when I got out of here, I'm on the way home, and the Madre calls, right? She needed some help with some Christmas gift ideas. So I call her, and I'm like, hey, I'm on the car. And she goes, you're not really going to do the mayo thing, are you? I was like, yes, ma'am. It's a bet's a bet, and a code of honor is a code of honor, right? I got a code of honor to live by here on the show. And she goes, well, I shouldn't you maybe just get like a Like, can't you get like one of those 8-ounce jars? And I'm like, that was not the spirit of the bet, Mom. Was not the spirit. The spirit of the bet is a punishment. 8 ounces of mayo is pretty much what I just put on a single sandwich.
But I was willing to go 16, but Rob wants to do the full 32 because, as he said, in the spirit of the bet.
We'll see. When I go pick it up after the show today, I might pick up the 32-ounce jar and be like, Lonzo exception.
No, you might pick up the 32 and go, cost this much?
All right. A couple of texts real quick before we get to a break, and we will dump the mayo talk for a couple of minutes. Texter says, Rob, use a punch bowl. But you want me to ladle mayonnaise into my mouth? You want me to use a ladle for a ladle?
Someone on the stream suggested a straw. No.
Texas says, now would be a good time to contract COVID. At least you wouldn't be able to taste your punishment. Again, I don't dislike the taste of mayo. I might after 32 straight ounces of it.
But you're going to eat Duke's mayo. Ugh.
Do like the Dukes.
We'll see how much, won't we?
I wonder if that, like, I used to like Goldschlager, right? It's a drink. It's a liquor.
Sounds German.
I used to like Goldschlager, which is a very mint flavored liquor, right? Used to love Goldschlager. And then when I was like 25, I had a night where me and one of my fraternity brothers had a handle of Goldschlager and we polished the whole bottle ourselves off in a single night. I was not right for about a week. And now the smell of Goldschlager, right? It has been 12 years since that night, and I still cannot sniff Goldschlager without feeling like I'm going to yak. I wonder if this is going to ruin Duke's mayo for me.
I've had that problem with a couple of restaurants where I've gotten sick after eating there and won't go back. You can
never go back, yeah.
Yeah, because just the smell of it makes me, And they were restaurants I really liked. There was one of my friends, because I was designated driver, and I got to drive everybody else's cars. A similar thing is they were drinking peach schnapps when it first came out, to the point they decided to throw up all over the place. And the smell of peach, if you brought anything peach into by the dude, at work, and we worked in a grocery store, he couldn't go through the produce department, which was hilarious.
It took me a long time to get back to where I could just eat a mint. Just a breath mint, right? Took me a while. I wonder if this is going to happen for me with mayo. Texter says, your beard is going to be disgusting. I'm going to use a spoon, right? Like I'm not cramming a jar into my face.
I think earlier you were talking about eating contests, and you also were talking about possibly trying to scarf as much down as you can. You're not going to get all that in there without losing some of it. So,
I mean, if I go with that strategy, but also paper towels are a thing that exists. There's no preclusion.
Really, in this building?
You
know what paper towels are?
Fair enough. Texas says, are you allowed to season your mayo at all? Say with a hamburger? If I told this to Kevin when he called yesterday.
That's seasoning.
Yeah. I told this to Kevin yesterday. If I could use a food for this, right? Like if I could make myself a plate of ham sammies that I could throw the mayo on, this would not be a challenge. It would be a pleasure, right? If I could make myself like 6 ham sammies and just load the mayo on, that'd be fine. That'd be great. Nope. Got to go straight to the dome, dude. Got to go straight to the dome. All right. Your texts are welcome on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. Texter says, you should use another brand so you don't hate Dukes if it's possible to hate it. I don't think it is, but I also used to be a huge fan of Goldschlager back in the day. Now I can't even look at the bottle without having flashbacks.
Which admittedly might be a reason why that stayed in the thing, because then I won't have to hear about Dukes ever again.
Lonzo playing 3D chess while the rest of us are playing checkers. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, my goodness, what a busy day yesterday, after we got off the air. Steve Nash is out as the head coach of the Nets, and that is dumb. And then the Nets were like, yo, watch us do something dumber than that, which is a pretty impressive 1-2 punch. We'll talk about that. Your college football playoff rankings are out, and there is a shocker at number 1. We'll take a stroll down the initial CFP rankings when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. Hand the fan upstate.
I will.
All right, stream got a live read. Stay right there. Be right back.
Lets you stay connected to your NFL team, your station, your shows. Follow your favorite stations and come back again.
I don't know why we have magic powers, though, but, you know, it looks interesting. I don't know if it's I think it might be on Game Pass. Yeah, it is on Game Pass.
Is it?
Yeah.
You want to play?
We'll see. I mean,
some robots.
Yeah.
Some robot zombies.
Yeah, I don't mind practicing for the future. I just sent Rob a trailer for a new game that drops on Game Pass. And the article reads, robots have turned against their creators and secret experiments have made terrifying mutants. Now they both stand in your way. And it's, you know, it's a future that we have to look forward to. Good to see some training programs are being put out there for us to be ready when the inevitable happens.
Priority Heating and Air HVAC specialist will give your system a thorough checkup. If you need a new unit, Priority Heating and Air is a proud distributor of the Coleman line of HVAC systems. So keep your family or business comfortable and give Priority Heating and Air a call today at 591-847 or find them online at PriorityHeatingandAirHVAC.com.
At Ingles, we're proud to sponsor area athletics at all levels. Whether we're building
I don't know what I did, but I downloaded some mod that made Skyrim hard. I'm getting my butt handed to me, which of course makes it fun. And It's like, okay, I died in 2 shots. I need to make better armor. So what do you think would have been worse, the mayonnaise or the syrup? I think the syrup would be worse. Because the syrup's straight up sugar.
I don't know.
I think I'd end up in the hospital. But yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the mayo would be easier to get down. I think the syrup would be easier to keep down. I feel like it's going to digest and break down faster. I don't know why I think that.
I think the syrup would stick with you. Literally. I mean, in your... Speak of bots, and we just went up to 84.
I think I've said this before. So this is a trademark-free ripoff of Black Betty by Ram Jam, which was the opening song to my first drive time radio show. Was that song. So every time I hear it, it's like, yeah, man, it takes me back about 15 years.
I don't know. This could be...
No, it can't. It's Black Betty by Ram Jam.
It could be They Call Me the Breeze.
No.
Yeah, I can hear a little bit of that in there.
Well,
it's any Southern rock anthem.
I'm going to go ahead and say that if one of the two of us is going to pick out the difference between Ram Jam and Skynyrd, it's probably me.
I don't understand what you're saying.
That's all I listened to growing up.
Okay.
Was
that so?
This is Black Betty by Ram Jam.
So you don't know what I listened to growing up. My mom was very eclectic.
Big 38 special guy over here.
That could be 38 special too.
No, it couldn't. That's Black
right
Betty.
There.
That's Ram Jam.
That's Bodhisattva right there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to it. Let's start, Zoe. We're going to roll through all the clips that start with a 2, and we'll start with clip number 2. Let's run through last night's announcements of our college football playoff top 6. We start with clip number 2, representing number 6 in the poll.
At number 5, Michigan. Whoa.
We skipped over 6. Who cares? It's just Bama.
Well,
should
yeah.
be 2.
No. I can't. I'm sorry. I clicked the wrong button.
Probably a little
Send me home.
Clemson and Alabama too, because Clemson's resume in terms of who they've beaten, not that great. But at number 6, it is Alabama, which means that Clemson will be in that 5 spot. Now, people get upset about Alabama, but just remember this: if Alabama wins the rest of its games, they're going to be in the playoff. If they lose one, they're not. And if they lose one, Saturday, they might not even make the.
But is there reason
ahead?
But is there reason to be upset when you've seen Alabama very easily could have lost to Texas,
yes,
lost to A&M,
yes,
got beat by Tennessee?
Yes.
That's what you're putting at number 6 right now. If we're putting all the body of work together, is that a team worthy of 6?
You cannot look ahead.
We got to go
with what we've seen
today. What we've seen. If I'm TCU, not me on the first Tuesday, but if I'm TCU, I'm already thinking, what's going on here?
But I think the one thing, I'm not saying that. I'm saying for the people who get upset about where they are. This will take care of itself. It's not an argument if you think that TCU, and it's a reasonable take, should be ranked ahead of Alabama.
Shouldn't they?
I mean, honestly, I think they could. I think they should. They haven't lost a game. They've also beat a number of ranked teams. They beat number 13 Kansas State. They beat number 18 Oklahoma State. They were the ones that effectively started the downfall of Oklahoma when they beat them 55-24 a few weeks back. I am a little taken aback that TCU is not there. I will say this: if both of these teams remain undefeated through this weekend, where Bama's got LSU and TCU's got Texas Tech, that will stay the same. But if TCU walks the dog on Texas and gives a common opponent victory that is more impressive than what Alabama did in the same stadium against the same team, TCU probably could and maybe should jump Alabama into number 6.
Do you think that in the committee there are hypotheticals?
Yeah, but no.
If this team plays this team, because if Alabama plays TCU, who you got?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. TCU is really good. And that's kind of the conversation here. But the question they're going to ask is, but how good, right? Because the Big 12 has got a couple of teams up top that are pretty good. But then we watched Oklahoma State, a team that was kind of a standard bearer for the Big 12, just get beat 48-0 last weekend.
It was ugly. It was very ugly.
It was horrific, right? So one of the Big 12 schools that was supposed to be a standard bearer for that conference got absolutely worked this weekend. And it kind of hurt, I think. It kind of hurt TCU a little bit because they only the week before, 2 weeks before that, took Oklahoma State to overtime and beat them by a field goal.
Well, I think there's one major Montreal screw job in this whole thing, and it's the next cut.
We will come to that. Now, let's move on to clip number 2A, and this is your 5th place spot.
At number 5, Michigan.
Whoa.
Now, I think all of us expected to see Clemson here.
Okay.
Instead, it's Michigan. Kirk, what's your reaction to that?
Surprised, but you wonder if the non-conference hurt them when it came to separating Clemson and Michigan. Michigan, I think all of us who watch football and like to think we know about the game, we've been very impressed with Michigan compared to losing Ajabo and Hutchinson, losing their coordinators, replacing the quarterback who was returning, and Cade McNamara with J.J. McCarthy and Reese. If anything, they've raised the bar from where they were a year ago. All this is for naught. If they went out there, fine. But it's just interesting to see what the committee thinks.
It's a great point, Kirk. Their strength of schedule was barely in the top 80. I think they had a game canceled with UCLA and filled it in. So their non-conference schedule was basically an exhibition schedule for them prior to the start of Big Ten play.
Now, I have to keep reminding myself that at the end of the day, this doesn't matter to Michigan, and the spot of Ohio State doesn't matter to Ohio State. You play each other, one of you is going away, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter that Michigan is 5, but here's the thing. The amount of shock, the amount of outrage shown there, which, by the way, how about that music in the background? Dun, 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 dun. It feels like we're coming up to a final boss battle, right? We're approaching the end game here. While it doesn't ultimately matter for Michigan because it's basically beat Ohio State and you're in the playoff. For the Buckeyes, it's beat Michigan, you're in the playoff. We'll talk about seeding later. I'm not shocked by this. Now, I pointed out to Lonzo about 3-4 weeks ago that the Big Ten's not very good. It's Ohio State. It's Michigan. It's Penn State, ? Though they've gotten dog-walked by both of the top 2 teams in this conference. I think playing in a depleted Big Ten has hurt Michigan here. The fact that Clemson has knocked off and plays in an ACC that has more top 25 teams than any other conference helps out Clemson, and that's why I have not heard their name at number 5.
All right, so this is going to force me to do something that makes me feel dirty.
Are you about to be Big Ten guy?
It's going to force me to do something to make me feel extremely Michigan got screwed over. They did. I mean, the TCU thing, I get it, but Michigan got screwed over because the number 4 team is not better than Michigan. Not at all. And if they played head to head, Michigan would whoop that orange butt all over the place. And man, that bothers me that I just said that.
I saw you flinch a little bit there. You were like, it's like you just ate a jar of mayo. For the record, if these two teams played each other this weekend and I had to set the line on it, Michigan minus 8.5.
Should I go ahead and play the clip? I mean, we already said who it was, but I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
at number 4. And there is Clemson. Clemson goes to Notre Dame this weekend. Tigers have had some near misses too, and they've got a little bit of a quarterback situation.
Yeah, I don't know that they have a situation. Clemson, probably for the past 2 years, even though they won 10 games last season, they haven't jumped off the screen at you when you watch them. And you're expecting to see an explosive offense that we've seen over the past few years, and we're not seeing that yet. So I can see Clemson being a team that is like, hey, if they win out, they'll be fine, but they're not jumping off the screen at me and making me think, wow, they're a great team.
And that's why I wonder why they're at 4 ahead of Michigan when Michigan's offense jumps off of the screen to me. And the defense has been pretty dang dominant this year too. So interesting.
You know, I got to say, when Michigan came up at number 5.
Wait, keep going, but I'm going to try something. Keep going.
When Michigan came up at number 5, I got angry because I knew that the college football committee was a sham, which they are most years because they put Clemson in at number 4. Come on.
I made it better. That made it better.
Did it?
Yeah, I made it better.
Did it? Michigan's better than Clemson any day this year. This year, not in years past, but this year they're better than them.
I think it definitely opens up the conversation about where do we put more weight? What you've done or what you look like?
There is no one any year since this committee has been put together can go, I get what they're doing. There's always something they do, and people are like, okay, why? And then they bring out their spokesman, whether it's the new guy or the old guy, and he's a politician and basically says nothing. He talks for 5 minutes, but he says absolutely nothing.
I am intrigued here. I think the response, I think the answer to this is going to be the Big Ten is not good. It's Michigan, it's Ohio State, and it's everybody else. Whereas the ACC has more. I'm not saying that it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm telling you what the answer is going to be. Whereas the ACC has 5 top 25 teams or whatever number it is, right? And Clemson's strength of schedule to date is just better than Michigan's. And it kind of answers the question, how important is strength of schedule?
Yeah, but
at least in the case of 4 or 5, the answer is very.
Their strength of schedule is only better because the AP has deemed it so. If the college football committee started at the beginning of the season, those teams in the ACC that are ranked that Clemson beat would not have been ranked. They would not.
I don't know. I think you're selling Wake and NC State short. I know they both lost.
Yes, I am selling them short because they're not as good as their ranking. No.
NC State's only loss beside Clemson came to a Syracuse team who then took Clemson to the wire.
And then Syracuse lost. And it's like the SEC and the ACC. They're beating each other up. Oh, wow. It's amazing.
Let's get one more in here before we go to our final segment, and then we'll get the top 2 there. In third place, clip 2C. Third place belongs to.
We knew the 3 teams at the top, almost certainly. The order is fascinating. What can we learn from the committee, at least in the initial rankings, by how they have them stacked up? At number 3. Georgia denied a 1 versus 2 matchup. In terms of now, Georgia kind of messed around with Kent State.
Missouri.
They got pushed to the end by Missouri, surprisingly, and maybe that's the reason they're paying for it. They do have the big win over Oregon on the resume.
Yeah, the win over Oregon, the win over Florida. 2 times this season, we've seen Georgia have to get up for a game. It's time to go prove something, and they've done that very well. The ones in between, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, national champions from last season, I can see them sleepwalking through those games. Those don't bother me as much.
Happiest guy in the world right now is Kirby Smart. They don't respect us, and here comes the Big Orange. Is Tennessee 2 or 1? Who's 2?
What the heck? Let's just roll into it. Clip duty.
Ohio State is number 2, and that leaves the Big Orange of Tennessee for the first time, and now this 9th year of the college football playoff that Tennessee has been ranked number 1. Previously, they hadn't even been ranked in the top 15, hadn't been ranked at all in the previous 5 iterations of the college football playoff ranking. So it's Tennessee, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson.
So there you go. Georgia 3, Ohio State 2, Tennessee number 1.
You know, I'm more okay with Tennessee being number 1 than I would have been with Georgia number 1, mostly because then Rob would have been right. And that's what it's all about to me. Because in the end, this is all going to work itself out. Tennessee plays Georgia this weekend. Ohio State's going to play Michigan. And in the lurker in the background, as always, is Alabama just waiting. They win the SEC championship. They may even vault up to 2 or 3.
I don't really have a problem with Tennessee being number 1.
You know, one thing about Tennessee being number 1 is I can't make fun of them anymore. They're back. They are back. I can't make fun of them anymore.
Even if they lose a game at this point, they're still back.
Yeah, they are.
Right?
They are.
I mean, they going back to the beginning of the schedule, they had a close game against Pitt. They had the close game against Florida, but that's a big rivalry game. They put 40 on LSU and held them to less than 2 touchdowns. They beat Alabama, which is a top 6 team, frankly, a top 5 team. And they absolutely beat the you-know-what up out of Kentucky last weekend. Now, again, Georgia, Tennessee, just like Ohio State, Michigan, somebody about to find out this weekend. Somebody going to mess around and find out. Because Tennessee, Georgia might be a slobber knocker. Or we find out that while Tennessee is back, maybe they're not quite as back as we thought. Or maybe we find out, Lonzo, that's why the CFP has Georgia at 3 when everybody else when I thought they would be number 1. Maybe there's something they see in Georgia that people are overlooking because anybody undefeated in the SEC immediately becomes the class favorite, right? Maybe the CFP, maybe the committee sees something in Georgia or doesn't see something in Georgia that the rest of us are missing. You go back to that, we talked about it, Mizzou win, right? Took everything they had to get by Mizzou. I think Mizzou might be a little bit better than people are giving credit for. Like, it kind of softens the blow of the Carolina loss to Mizzou when you consider that's the same team that took Georgia to the wire. But is Georgia overrated? Is that why the College Football Playoff Committee has Georgia at number 3 and the Buckeyes at number 2? I know why Tennessee is at number 1. Lonzo, we can all say it doesn't, but when a team's dropping 40s and 50s and 60s every single week, they're going to they're going to jump off the page, right? If a team won every game 14-0 and a team won every game 55-37, the team that's putting 55 on the board is going to get more attention than the team that's only given up 3 or 4 or 5 points a game consistently.
Yeah, I completely agree. If Ohio State would have beat Penn State by that many points like they should have, I think that they might have had a shot at being number 1. But Tennessee is doing that, and they beat a team that, they look pretty good. They really do.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
I'm not sold that they'll be there at the end of the year. We'll find out. We'll find out this week. This week is a big test for them.
Week is a big test for pretty much everybody. It's a big test for Bama. It's a big test for Clemson at number 5 on the road at Notre Dame. It is for Michigan. Who is Michigan? I already forgot. Who's Michigan got this weekend? I blanked on it. Let's see. Michigan's got on November 5th. Oh, Rutgers. They're fine. Never mind. Not a big test for Michigan. Big test for number 4 Clemson on the road at Notre Dame, right? They won last week. They're feeling a little bit better. Place is going to be rocking. Big test for Tennessee and Georgia, obviously. And big test for the Buckeyes. This is a big weekend. It's a good weekend for this poll to have come out. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
That's a good question, Keegan. I don't know. Because if Georgia beats Tennessee and stays undefeated, they're going to win the East.
Tennessee beats Georgia the same way that they did Alabama. Who would play in the SEC championship? Georgia or Alabama? Who would play in the SEC championship? Georgia, Alabama. Georgia's in the East, so Tennessee would play Alabama. As of today.
Yeah. This weekend is for the East.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless whoever wins it just chokes down the stretch. Whoever wins between Tennessee and Georgia will represent the East and play Bama out of the West. Well, I say that, Lonzo. If LSU beats Alabama, LSU would actually, if LSU beats Bama, this weekend's for the East and the West. If LSU beats Bama, LSU can win the West. Could you a Tennessee LSU SEC championship game, just like we all predicted, ladies and gentlemen?
Would viewership go down? I think viewership would go down, but yeah.
Process is fantastic. QC Kinetics treatments take place right in the office. No downtime, no surgery. And as for the outcome, I'm just back to bouncing around, having fun, doing my work, living pain-free. Don't let chronic joint pain rob you of your quality of life. Discover advanced regenerative medicine.
I take it back. That was a gut reaction. It would.
Call now to learn more. It's a free
consultation.
Call QC Kinetics.
I'm going to go.
448-3772.
Well, I don't know, because, like, LSU's got a great TV watching audience. And you're going to get the people who turn in to hate watch Brian Kelly, right? Tennessee.
Nothing wrong with watching family.
Tennessee, a team that puts up 50 a game, is going to draw balls because people just want to see how explosive they are. But on the flip side, as much as everybody every year hates saying or hates seeing all SEC playoff and all SEC championship games, the ratings for those games are always as high as they can be.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 6.99% APR to 21.49% APR, including 0.5% auto discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Starting in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, great for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had two challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The results: an integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to KansasCitySteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WebNow1. That's 877-WebNow1.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the fan.
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always live from the Free Odyssey app. CBS Sports Radio.
You know, realized something during the break there. You know, we talked about how it's going to be a big weekend for everybody inside the top 6 except Michigan, who's got Rutgers. It's going to be a big weekend, but the SEC championship game could very well be determined this weekend. You got Georgia and Tennessee out in the East, but how about out in the West? I didn't even consider this, right? I think everybody's so fixated on Alabama at number 6, and understandably so. They are standing at 7-1, but at 7-1 and 4-1 in conference, LSU is 6-2 and 4-1 in conference. What does that mean? If LSU beats Alabama this weekend, which I don't think many people are projecting that to happen, but LSU has kind of found themselves a little bit. They've gotten a little bit better. If LSU beats Alabama, both teams will be 7-2 overall. But Alabama would be 4-2 in conference. LSU would be 5-1. If LSU was to knock off Alabama this weekend, Lonzo, LSU would determine their own destiny in the SEC West. That's really interesting. That a playoff team who, by the way, I think must win the SEC championship in order to be included in the top 4 in Alabama, they are quite literally playing for the opportunity this weekend, not just to lose, but to give themselves the divisional crown they were so rightfully need. LSU, a team that back in week 1, remember, well, week 1 for them, week 2 for FSU, lost to Florida State in what was effectively a home game in the Louisiana Superdome. And everybody was LOLing at Brian Kelly and LSU. And don't get me wrong, not a Brian Kelly fan at all is Rob Brown. Flamor! But LSU is very much playing for a Western Division title and a Southeastern Conference championship berth coming up this weekend.
This is just chaos, Rob Brown. Chaos.
I'm here for it. Team chaos.
The
man.
College world is being turned on its ear.
LSU's got Bama, Arkansas, UAB, and A&M left to play. They got to go to College Station and play in the face of the cult. But Arkansas's fallen off. It's UAB, all due respect to the Blazers. And College Station, courtesy of Appalachian State, ain't exactly scaring anybody right now. LSU beats Bama. LSU's probably going to the SEC championship game. And Tennessee, Georgia is I mean, that if you only get to watch one game this weekend, it's Tennessee, Georgia, right? Like, that's the one. I think it's got to be. All right, let's put that to bed for right now. You got any thoughts on the initial college football playoff rankings? Hit them with us. Hit us with them. Don't hit us with anything. At 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. Or text them to the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with FAN, FAM. We'll read them on the air. Back after this for our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
You might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
From the four corners of the globe, the world's greatest set their sights on one goal. The Breeders' Cup World Championships are coming to iconic Keeneland this November 4th and 5th. Over 2 days and 14 championship races, the pinnacle of international thoroughbred racing will put the most jaw-dropping, heart-pounding spectacle before your very eyes. Coverage begins Friday
Jaw-dropping.
and continues Saturday on USA and NBC. Visit breederscup.com/2022 to learn more.
Safe was named the best home security of 2022 by U.S. News and World Report. But we don't do what we do for the accolades. We do it to protect you and everything you love. Our advanced sensors and HD cameras are powered by 24/7 professional monitoring for faster police response. Visit simplysafe.com/holiday to get 40% off any new system today. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end the game in a tie. The type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Hey, attention P1, just Matt at 9.
The all-new Rise Guys P1 Lager is here.
We teamed up with Steelhead Brewery to bring you a new, easy drinking lager.
Ask for it by name, Rise Guys P1 Lager.
The best beer on the planet. Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When came to their website and average site review, they chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had two challenges: improve their brand presence and
So my solution, which was the least amount of work, is not approved. So we're looking for other solutions, which will require work, but that's fine. I'm not trying to get out of work. I'm just trying to, It definitely worked though. The only problem is the new number they want us to change everything to, those spots will not stream. And I have come up with another solution. I'll have to talk to them about it. It's still going to require replacing a lot of things, but oh well. I once had to remove the dot from 106.3 WORD because it used to be 106.3, and they decided to remove the point. So I had to go through every single line or every single spot that we had and remove points from it.
Well, that's not tedious and annoying.
Yeah, well, when you change a slogan just by just taking a point out.
Booster Club and Collective is that we really hope that kid ends up here. Anyway, have a great day. Remember, I did not give you any directives at all today.
Of course, you can't see
Thanks
the
for
visual. While said university head Rob Brown is talking, he's got both hands up and fist forward.
Man, how short was that? Gee.
Like a Polaroid picture. I can. Coming up next on the show, Lonzo does Outcast.
Hey, yeah, it's time for a break.
Sorry, Miss Jackson.
Same great show, new time.
The Rob Brown Show.
Now 9 to noon, only on the Fan Upstate.
Hey, it's Rob Brown. The Furman men's and women's basketball teams will take center court at Hoops Night, Thursday, November 3rd at 7:30 p.m. at Timmons Arena in partnership with the Fan Upstate. This free and action-packed event.
Although if corporate goes back and looks at the beginning of this chapter, it will start like at 58 and be nothing but promos.
Yeah.
All I gotta do
is anybody but you working on this?
No, it's just me, but that's my project. I am pretty good at troubleshooting, So, I mean, if they would just install a delete button, I mean, just so you can delete those chapters that are not, I get it's not that simple, but.
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rob Brown. He is Lonzo. You are you, and you are listening to the 2021-22 South Carolina Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year. And boy, howdy, are we glad that you are. Appreciate you joining us. I got another, why do you have to yell so much email during the break? I don't think I've yelled that much today. Today's been subdued. So, dear listener who wrote that email, if you think today is yelling, I wish you the best of luck when I, actually do.
It's my fault. I'm going to take credit for. I'm sorry. I should match your energy. I should match everything you do.
No, what you should stop doing is interrupting me, Lonzo.
Yeah, I know. It makes you stand out. And I apologize for messing up. I'll do better. Except for the interrupting part.
Yeah, no, you
won't. Which I just did as you took that breath to speak.
So our top 6 are out, according to the College Football Playoff Committee. Checking in at 6 is 7-1 Bama. Undefeated Michigan is number 5 and outside of the playoff spots. Again, it as we pointed out, as has been pointed out many times, it doesn't matter, right? Michigan and Ohio State have a playoff game left in front of them. Georgia and Tennessee have a playoff game ahead of them. Here's my question. As we talked about that in the last segment of last hour, to wrap up hour number 1. We have got right now Alabama sitting at 7-1. LSU is currently sitting at number 10 at 6-2. If LSU goes to 7-2 by way of beating 7-1 Alabama, do they slot up behind TCU? Can they get over a one-loss Oregon and Southern Cal team? Or is the Pac-12 strong enough? Because the Pac-12 has got Oregon, SC, and UCLA at 12 right now, that they would keep their spot and everybody would just move up 1. I don't know. We'll see. This weekend's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. Let me get to something else that happened yesterday. Lonzo, I think I'm a good person. I think we all think we're good people. I think I'm a good person.
I don't know. I do think there's some people out there who don't think they're a good person. I'm not so sure about myself sometimes, but
I think we're both good people. I don't think either of us take pleasure in the suffer of others. I don't think either of us take pleasure in the suffering of others. Take pleasuring in the suffer of others. Wow, Rob, way to make that weird.
Yeah, even Tom Brady, I hate that he's going through the situation that he's going through in his regular life. I don't want to see him win another football game ever. But yeah, even the people that I don't really like, I don't want to see them suffer.
Yeah. Not IRL, not in real life, right?
Oh, I thought that was never mind.
Therefore, I feel, and I'm going to borrow Chuck Barkley's word because I'm going to be playing Chuck here in just a second. I feel terrible for Steve Nash. Steve Nash got fired yesterday by the Brooklyn Nets. And Steve Nash got fired because the players on the Brooklyn Nets keep lighting dumpsters on fire. Steve Nash keeps trying to put the dumpster fires out, and then Kyrie's like, oops. Sorry, coach. Lit another dumpster on fire.
I didn't know the sage was flammable, but I guess it could be. Does he still do that?
Kyrie, what do you know? I was trying to cleanse the dumpster, coach. I got evil, negative spirits in the dumpster. I was just trying to get it out. Kyrie, that's just a dumpster fire. Yeah, I know, coach, but the dumpster's flat. Okay, never mind. All right, listen. Steve Nash gets fired. The Nets and Steve Nash released a statement that it was a mutual agreement. I bet it was, because Steve Nash went, yeah, I am tired of this boat. This is some crap. You guys were supposed to build one of the most dominant teams of all time, and instead you handed me a freaking kindergarten class. Are you kidding me right now? It's a joke. So Nash is out. Let me grab that Chuck Barkley clip from Inside the NBA on TNT last night. Chuck got asked about the firing of Steve Nash, and here's what he had to say.
You know, it's interesting. Like, if you go back and look at our tape from the first night, I said, the Nets are must-watch television. They either going to win the championship or get their coach fired by Christmas. I was wrong both times. They ain't going to win the championship, and they got their coach fired before Thanksgiving. So I'm 0 for 2. Well, first of all, Steve Nash is a scapegoat. Let's get that out of the way. Steve Nash is a scapegoat for these players acting like idiots and fools. It's really starting to be a joke, this whole Brooklyn. I mean, it's past being a joke.
Chuck Barkley is the freaking best, dude.
I'm glad he fixed what he was saying. It's been a joke for a while.
Yeah.
For like a season and a half. Is that how long have they been there?
Yeah, basically it's about a season and a half. And it's been a joke the whole time. It's been a joke the whole time. It was a joke in the post-COVID season. It was a joke now. It was a joke last year. It's a joke. And, you know, before you hit me with, well, Rob, if there weren't the, you know, vaccine mandates in place and Kyrie could have played the whole season last year, they would have done something. Would they? Because he's playing now and they're, what's the word I'm looking for here, Alonzo? Bad.
At least they're not the Lakers.
At least they're not the Lakers. By the way, as a Pelicans fan, the Pelicans have the Lakers' first-round draft pick next year, Alonzo. If the Lakers finish with the number 1 draft pick or a lottery pick, we have another lottery pick. Are you kidding me? This is amazing. All right, anyway. So they fire Steve Nash. They mutually agree to part ways. No, they don't. I mean, they did, but they didn't want to go. Steve Nash didn't want to go because he's like, okay, I've had my fun. No. Steve Nash wanted to get out because it feels like he's running a freaking kindergarten class, and he didn't want to deal with that crap anymore. And frankly, I get it. I understand. I get it. I am blown away by what an atrocious experiment this has turned out to be. Like, this team could have gone down as one of the great. In fact, when Kyrie and KD and Harden end up in Brooklyn, I said at the time, I'm tempted to go back and pull audio from those shows, but I said at the time, so this is going to end up one of two ways. They are either going to have the greatest offense in the history of the National Basketball Association, or they're going to implode in the most hilarious of fashions. And they picked number 2.
It's always better to go with number 2. In a lot of ways.
Fair. Here's the better part. The better part is this. The better part is who the Nets are now looking at moving on to as their next head coach. Who are they looking at bringing in to replace Steve Nash? Ime Udoka. Who's that, you ask, if you don't know the league?
I can't wait for you to explain how this is even possible.
Ime Udoka is, though suspended, the head coach of the Boston Celtics. Ime Udoka is suspended by the Boston Celtics for a season. Why? Because Ime Udoka, who got a relationship, got a baby mama that he's with or was also doing the old unskinny bop, 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 bop with the wife of one of the executives of the Boston Celtics. It was consensual at first. The woman claims that then it turned non-consensual, and Udoka kind of used his power and influence to keep it going. Either way, I don't care if it was consensual from start to finish. The dude was laying it down with the wife of an exec who did not know that was happening. Ime Udoka gets suspended by the Celtics for a year. Can't play basketball or can't coach basketball for them. So because Ime Udoka can't coach basketball, he's sitting on the sidelines, and the Brooklyn Nets were like, all right, let's think about this. We have got a really bad basketball team right now. The Brooklyn Nets, as it currently stands, are, oh goodness, what's their record right now? 1 in all the rest, I think. I mean, it's just a bad team, right? The Brooklyn Nets are embarrassingly bad. Oh, they're 2-6. They won a second game. Sorry. It's 2-6 now. The only team that the Brooklyn Nets are better than in the East right now is the Orlando Magic, who are 1-7. We got an embarrassingly bad team. We have got Kevin Durant, one of the best players in the league, who is very clearly unhappy with what's happened in this franchise. We got Ben Simmons, who can't play for whatever reason right now. We got Kyrie Irving, who can't keep his nose out of trouble right now, who can't stop saying and doing stupid things, and has now decided, flat earth and Sage in the building isn't quite crazy enough. Let's put in a sprinkle of anti-Semitism on top of it. What should we do? How would you decide to find some direction for this team? Would it be to go find a Greg Popovich? Would it be to go find somebody who is known for instilling discipline? Would it be somebody who is known as drilling down the team and getting them on the same page? Would it be somebody who is known for outstanding communication and the ability to grow chemistry within a roster? No. You're going to go get the guy suspended for a year because he was sleeping with his boss's wife behind his back. I've long looked at franchises, though, like the Detroit Lions. You're like, how the hell are you so inept, right? But at least with Detroit, it's like you're just bad at managing a sports team. The Nets are like, what if we were a soap opera? What if we just said, screw basketball, let's just be on the cover of TMZ every week?
I think you could look at it in another direction. This is what Kevin Durant wanted. Kevin Durant, he didn't want all the drama, obviously, but he went there to build a team for himself to win a championship, and now he's stuck in it. And some people might think he's getting what he deserves. You jump around enough, eventually, this is what I want. I want this guy here. I want this guy here. You get everything you want, and then you find out my way doesn't work. I want to go somewhere else, and then they won't let you go.
I think Kevin Durant looked at Brooklyn and went, all right, Bron has built super teams. I've been on a super team. Like you're almost at the point now where with a handful of exceptions, you kind of almost have to have a super team to win a title, right? Golden State's a super team, although it is one that is organically built. They are what they are. Even with the fall off of Clay, still a super team. I think KD thought, all right, Brooklyn's setting the direction. I don't think that KD knew Kyrie is going to go from flat earth, which whatever, man. Like I've said on the air, you cannot logic someone out of a position they did not logic themselves into, right? You can't rationalize someone out of a position that they don't rationally take. You know Kyrie's a bit of a loose cannon. You know Kyrie's a little bit out there, and you knew you were going to deal with that, but I don't think Kyrie was going to end up going flat out off the rails like he's done the last few days.
See what you did there, flat out. Yeah, good job.
I don't think you knew that James Harden was going to play a half a season and then go, screw this. And by the way, I think we have an apology to issue because when James Harden forced his way out of Brooklyn, all of us were like, what a Nance, what a terrible dude. James Harden, you suck. And now looking back, James Harden might have made the smartest move of anybody in this whole freaking organization.
He's still not going to win pretty much wherever he goes. But, he made a good move. He got there and went, whoa.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. How do I get out of here?
Hold up. By the way, the 76ers are 4-4. They are in third place. They are game back.
Congrats.
Of second place.
You're mid, but you're not Brooklyn.
The Nets are 13th. The Nets there's one team worse than the Brooklyn Nets, and it's the Orlando Magic. And by the way, Paulo Banchero, the former Duke kid, is killing it right now. Killing it for O-Town. I think he's had like one game where he's had less than 20 points. But the point is, we were all ready to just get after James Harden's rear. We're like, oh, there he goes again. There's the diva. There's the guy that cannot take any weight on his shoulders. There's the guy who's afraid of being the stud. Nope. James was like, man, I'm in the locker room. I see the writing on the wall. This team's going to implode. And deuces, I'm out. We all beat the hell out of him. And now I'm looking like, damn, James Harden actually made the right decision. James Harden I don't like James Harden, but James Harden is owed an apology, and I'll give it to him. My bad, James. I went after the beard. I GATA the beard.
Still not sure that beard is real. But
that beard's real.
Yeah, no, I think he's got like a whole closet full of them and really good glue.
I was getting after James Harden, and it turns out James Harden was the smartest net of them all.
How much does this tarnish Kevin Durant's legacy? Being stuck on a team like this.
I can't put this on Durant. I mean, does it tarnish it?
But this is what he wanted. This
is not what he wanted. He didn't want to go to a team that turned out to be a large dumpster fire inside of a slightly larger dumpster fire. KD thought he was going to a super team. He did not know he was going to the inside of Kyrie's mind turned into a basketball team, right? Like he knew he thought he was going to a super team. He didn't think he was going into this catastrophe. James Harden didn't either, but James Harden was like, yo, bleep this, I'm out. This sucks.
So because they can't fool a coach who's, I guess, on the up and up, they have to get a guy who's suspended right now. That's the only one willing to possibly go there.
Listen, I think Ime Udoka might be an outstanding NBA coach. I really do. I think he might be. Remember, he took Boston last year despite some injuries and moves around that nobody saw coming. He took Boston last year and made a hell of a run with the Celtics. I think Ime Udoka might be a great basketball coach. Here's the problem. Kyrie's nuts. Kyrie needs therapy. Kyrie needs help. I'm not kidding about that. He is nuts. He needs help, right? And with a lot of people like that, they're not going to take it. They're not going to get help because Kyrie thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, right? Kyrie thinks that all his crazy bull boat, the fact that he feels that way and nobody else does, is because everybody else is wrong and he's right because he's smarter than everybody. And he's not going to get help. 98% of the people in the world can prove the earth is round, and the 2% of people that are flat earthers are just convinced everybody else is a sheeple who can't see the truth because they're smarter than you are. That's Kyrie right now. I'm not saying Kyrie is the only reason the Nets are imploding, but he's damn sure the biggest reason. And he's not going to do anything about it at all. And here's the problem. You know, you can get away with doing something dumb and having somebody else pick you up and go, well, we believe in second chances, right? Yeah, Ime Udoka made a mistake in Boston, and we believe he's a good guy, and he deserves a second chance. And we're going to get him out of Boston, away from his demons, and give him a healthy, all-inclusive, supportive atmosphere here in Brooklyn, New York, where he can focus on being a better person, a basketball coach. And that's fine. You know what you're not going to get a lot of second chances from? Public open racism or anti-Semitism. It's hard to bounce back from that. Is there a team in the NBA that honestly feels if they bring in Kyrie at this point, they're going to be better? Probably not. Probably not. So the Nets can't even offload the guy who is the majority of the problem right now, right? Can't even offload that guy. And Ben Simmons, who was brought in to be the future, ain't playing that well right now. And ain't nobody taking Ben Simmons because he got that fat contract too. Not only are the Nets bad, but no coaches are going to want to touch them. Ime Udoka has to because it's the only way he can get on the court and get paid this year. Nobody's going to want a net, and nobody's going to want to go to the Nets. And so I'm not saying I am enjoying watching this implosion, but as somebody who loves the psychology side of sports, it's damn sure interesting. It really is. Hey, we're so bad, let's get rid of probably the only piece that was holding us from imploding together entirely, and bringing a guy who was suspended for doing the unskinny bot with his boss's wife behind his back. That'll do good, right? Can't wait for Ime Udoka and Kyrie to get together at a press conference for the first time. All right, let's take a break. Rob, Lonzo, we got more college football. We got some NFL coming up around the corner. And last night, World Series game number 3, the Phillies decided to hit all the home runs. We'll break that game down and more on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Stay right there. Stream. Be right back.
In Sunday's game against
All right, dudes and dudettes, we are back.
300 yards passing.
I feel like the issue with Michigan is that the committee probably feels that Penn State is the only quality one they have. And to be honest, Wake, NC State, and Syracuse probably could all beat Penn State on a neutral field, or at least that's probably how they see it. Not sure the Big Ten has anything to offer other than OU and Michigan, just my opinion, though. NC State without Leary can't, but you've got to, and this is one of the things the committee is going to consider, when they beat NC State, Leary was in there and healthy, right? And that was a better NC State team. So that's a good look for them.
So what if you're inside the lines but your mirror is?
So rumor has it that Staples.
I mean, if your mirror isn't, you aren't. Which one are you talking about? The van?
Directly across.
And I can actually ship there, right?
And they're not
Yeah. I mean, it's tolerable, but I'm a big boy. Like, you're going to make me park all the way on the line next to me, you know? And that means that me avoiding dinging your car might result in somebody else dinging mine. All right, let's see. Joseph says, what do you think would happen if Georgia beats Tennessee, then Bama beats Georgia in the SEC championship, leaving them all with one loss? Georgia and Bama. All right. Ohio State would be, well, whoever wins between Ohio State and Michigan would be in. Clemson undefeated. I think you would have Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, and Bama would be your Final Four in that case. If any team, if Georgia or Tennessee make it to the SEC championship game, as long as they don't get the break speed off of them in the SEC championship game, they'll probably still be in as the 4 seed. So if they all have one loss, I would think probably, I don't know. See, like, I think to be a one-loss team and get in, you have to be the SEC championship winner. Or loser, but have one loss, right? If both teams in the SEC champion, whoever it is, if both teams in the SEC championship game have one loss at the end of the championship game, they're both going in. And I think your other teams are Clemson, who probably shouldn't lose another game, and the winner of Ohio State, Michigan, who should not lose another game between them. Joseph said, sweet Ice Flyers jersey. Yeah, man. The old throwback Ice Flyers jersey from a couple of years back. I used to work as the in-arena announcer for that game. I used to fill in and, well, not fill in. I used to do that and then fill in for their PA guy. My man Josh is the PA guy down there. Great dude. Great dude. My favorite thing going right now, it's about every 10 minutes on the text line or in the Facebook chat, I get a message from somebody with their suggested tips and tricks for what to do and not to do to finish a jar of mayo during the show. That's pretty spectacular.
I'm glad they're looking out.
Steven popped up, said, make sure to avoid carbonated drinks when you eat the mayo. I had a texter earlier who said, of my 3 strategies, that the one they would take is to do regular size spoonfuls throughout the show and then, finish the last third of a jar in just one go at the very end of the show, because then you have the discomfort, but at least you're off the air when it happens. So my goal is to not miss any of the show because I'm praying to the porcelain god during a segment where Lonzo's got to carry the show without me. Not that he's incapable of doing it. He obviously is. I just don't want to miss any of the show. I only get 3 hours with you guys every day. I don't want to miss a segment of it because I'm yakking up mayo in the bathroom during one of them. But at the same time, I wonder, would the discomfort of cranking down 15 ounces of mayo in one shot at the end of a show cause more discomfort than just doing 2 big fat spoonfuls every segment as I go.
I still think the spoonfuls is the way to go. If you try to force too much down, it's not going to end well. It's not.
Let's see.
No, Jesse, the mayo is not today. Thanks for asking, though.
According to,
if it were today, he'd already be halfway through the jar, possibly.
If it was today, I'd sound like this by now.
For all the people complaining about Rob yelling, I'd be willing to worry about that. Yeah, it's not going to happen on that day, which might be tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it is going to be tomorrow. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it tomorrow.
Ooh, I like that idea, Maverick. I'm down with that idea. I don't think Rob would be, though.
Maverick says, I think Lonzo needs a mayo button to make Rob take a bite of mayo when he wants. That is not the deal. Because
it would be hilarious, though.
At some point during the show, you would just hear, have fun with that, buddy. You know, I got something to say. Mayo, 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 mayo. Hey, Lonzo, the Big Ten is overrated. Mayo, 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 mayo. Hey, Lonzo, you know, I think Clemson is mayo, 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 mayo. I would be that if Lonzo had a mayo button, I would be bringing in roses and chocolates to start the show.
I'm just watching you on the video. That does not come across like you're doing what you think you're doing. I'm just saying it's weird. It's very strange.
And we'll leave that right there. We'll leave that right there.
I meant it looked like you were trying to kill a bug.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. For sure. That's definitely what you meant. How many, I'm Googling, how many spoonfuls? My search history is just a disaster right now.
It's all right. We know a guy. You're good.
How many, let's see, how many tablespoons in a jar of mayo? According to firstlawcomics.com, you are looking at, they say a tablespoon works out to be about an ounce. A tablespoon works out to be an ounce. So that would be, if I just did 1 ounce per tablespoon, that would be 32 tablespoons, obviously. I think I can do 2. That's 16 tablespoons. So that works out, Zoe, to basically around it's 2 healthy tablespoons per break and 1 in segment. Every segment. So every break down. So I think the strategy right now is put 1 away as soon as we go live on the stream. Like as soon as the intro song starts, probably put 2 away. And then do 1 in segment. Then at the start of every break and at the end of every break, do 1, and then do 1 in the middle of every segment.
I'm just thinking Steiner math and mayonnaise don't mix, but we'll find out. I mean, I would hate for you to pace yourself only to find out that you still have a third of the jar left with like 6 or 7 minutes left in the show.
Oh, man. Tomorrow's going to be the worst show ever.
So are you going to eat before you come in? Because you don't normally eat.
I don't
weird.
Eat
you don't
anyway.
eat breakfast.
Not only am I not going to eat breakfast, I'm not eating dinner tonight. I
don't know if an empty stomach's the way to go, dude. So what you're saying is you plan on throwing up and you don't want anything in there.
I don't plan on it, but nobody except those with an eating disorder plan to throw up, right? I am a drinker and I don't plan to throw up. It just happens sometimes.
It's been my experience from when I've been sick that it's easier to pass food than to not have food in there to pass, because then you're throwing up bile and, well, in this case, mayo. But yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe you're going to go, this Duke's mayonnaise, which you've swore by for so long, is the tastiest food I've ever had. Give me another jar.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I mean, I love Duke's mayo, but that's not going to happen. So thanks for all the advice. Texas said, just bring some bread and bananas, or pineapples. Here would be a question, Zoe.
Why would you throw citrus on?
Yeah, I wouldn't go citrus.
Yeah.
Bread I think would help. The question is, can I eat other things between spoonfuls of mayo, right? Like I will eat the mayo by itself off the spoon, but can I like pop down a piece of bread between them to cleanse the palate? I'm not going to, I will be, I'll have water to drink between because I'm not dumping carbonation on top of it.
How about some crackers?
I got saltines at the house. So I bring saltines, and the problem with saltines, obviously, is they dry my mouth out, and I got a radio show to do.
Yeah,
I got to do all this without impacting the quality of the show.
See, I don't know. I'm an arbiter of nothing, like most people on this station. So, I think leave it up to the listeners if they think it's okay.
Well, then it's a no. That's a great. You could have just said no and saved us the time.
I'm all about participation.
Yeah,
engaging the audience.
Texas said, "Would Shane Beamer, would show Shane Beamer how to win a Mayo Bowl if he had Mayo button for Rob LMAO? Yeah, if Lonzo had a Mayo button, that thing would be down in the first segment of the show, and I wouldn't be able to do anything about it."
Every time I think you're saying male butt, and I used to have one of those. It was hard to get around.
All right. Let's run to a break. A couple of things. Coming up at 11 o'clock, Emily Adams of the Greenville News is going to join us on the show to open up the next hour. We got to talk World Series baseball. The Phillies last night took McCullers' yard like a whole lot of times. You want to hear something crazy? 7 runs on the board last night, Lonzo. 7 runs on the board. The Phillies did not score a run from second or third base. Every run on the board came from either a dinger or somebody on first batted in by a dinger. That's insane, dude. 7 runs on the board. None of them scored from scoring position, second or third base. Every single run was either from somebody going yad or being on first when somebody else went yad. The Phillies went bananas last night. But the question is, were the Astros tipping pitches? Was Lance McCullers tipping pitches? We'll talk about that coming up later on in the show. Yesterday, we told you about the comments that Spencer Rattler made that Shane Beamer felt the need to address. And I asked if Gamecock fans were concerned about it. Today, we find out that Jaheim Bell has spoken out. Remember, Jaheim Bell was a guy that I told you was expected to have a first or second round draft pick in the NFL draft because he was expected to be a stud this year. Dude has not seen the field for more than 16 snaps in the last 4 games. Jaheim has now spoken up along with the rest of his family. What did he have to say? And does having some of your more high-profile players speaking out repeatedly about the program mean bad things for the Gamecocks? We'll address that coming up and more on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. I every now and then the world decides to remind me that I'm aging rapidly, Zoe. The Shield made its debut a decade ago today.
Never watched it.
I mean, The Shield, like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and
Oh, I thought you were talking about the show.
No.
Okay. All right.
The Shield
All right. No, I got you now.
made their debut a decade
Yes,
ago.
I missed the wrestling reference, but
10 years ago, The Shield made its debut. 10 years.
they've all been very successful. And Seth has dyed his hair again.
He did. I saw that.
And I don't know what that means.
My wig looked very Seth Rollins-y after that.
It did. It's like the reverse Seth Rollins.
If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions.
Come on, catch up. Thank you.
No, Mayo. We already talked about this.
$1,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set
NFL trade
with a
deadline
5-blade
activity, 'cause this
razor,
dude not-
weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All
We
for
talked
just
about
$3
Bears acquisition.
plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code
Hey, I'm
Joey
Bill
at
Ryder, CBS
checkout.
Sports Minute.
That's
The NFL trade
harrys.com,
deadline happened
code
yesterday. I am out of time.
Enjoy.
My friend and I are taking a
Yeah,
trip
it's
to
hard.
Mexico this year.
Why did he sound like a robot right there?
That's what he's doing.
Oh, that was the gimmick?
6 or 7 seconds to a sponsor, so I get to have a little more time to make my choice. You don't say
Lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
Giselle, I want you to do the last one. 'Cause I just feel
Babbel, for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions
I'm
sold.
innocent
Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com.
Just trying to find the music.
BL.com.
Hey, it's Warren Sison, and we all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time you need parts for your car, don't call it quits. Go to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. The right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM
Always live from the Philadelphia
CBS
Sports Radio. More than the scores.
All right, meant to get to this yesterday, ran out of time, but I'll do it now. The Jaguars of Jacksonville, soon to be the Jaguars of London, soon to be the something else's of London, when they inevitably move and change their name, are struggling right now. And that struggle continued in jolly old England this past Sunday, bright and early in the AM for us, when the Jags lost to the Denver Broncos. Took the L, and TL16 had 2 picks in that game. Now, 2 picks is going to happen to every quarterback. But the two picks were both really bad picks. One on the goal line when he tried to throw into a spot that there was no spot. And 2 on what could have been a game-winning drive when he just threw behind an open wide receiver and it got snagged. They were bad interceptions. And as I scrolled the interwebs on Monday, I came across no shortage of blogs and podcast segments, etc., all saying the same thing. It is time to give up on Trevor. It is time to walk away from Trevor. Trevor's just not that good. We got to move on from Trevor. And my response to that was, slow your roll. Slow down, slugger. Relax for just a second, big fella. This, in my opinion, this is TL16's rookie year, right? If Trevor was a rook plugged in right now and was having the year that he's having, we certainly would not look at it and go, this guy's an out-the-gate success. This guy's like Joey B, slinging it from day one. Sure. But we also wouldn't be saying, oh, it's over. Shut it down. TL16's no bueno, right? I genuinely think that Urban Meyer was so horrendous in that job that I don't count Trevor's first year as a year in the league. That's how bad he was, right? Name me another coach that gets canned halfway through the year in his first year. There's not many.
So let me get this straight. And I predicted this would happen, and I didn't think it would be you would blame Trevor's struggles on the coach. He went to Jacksonville. He's not going to do well in Jacksonville. He's got a shot of playing decent somewhere else. He was a really good college quarterback. He had some problems against really good defenses. Most of the defenses in the NFL are pretty good. He's struggling because he's not what everyone thought he would be. They're going to make excuses for this guy every single year. You're making excuses for him.
Well, let me make a comparison then and see if I can win you over. Down in Miami where the Dolphins play, there's a young man playing quarterback by the name of Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa is going into is in the midst of his third season in the National Football League. Up in Philadelphia, there is a young man playing quarterback by the name of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is in the midst of his third NFL season. What do Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts have in common besides the fact that they are both in their third year in the National Football League? They are both undefeated this year. In games where Tua Tagovailoa has not been murdered or recovering from being murdered, Tua Tagovailoa has not lost a football game this year. Jalen Hurts has played every game for the Eagles, and the Eagles are the only undefeated NFL team remaining, and they have one more thing in common. Down in Miami, where the Dolphins play, they decided this offseason, we should probably go ahead and bring in a wide receiver for this young man, right? We should probably go get a guy. So they went and they got a cat by the name of Tyreek Hill. Now they made another move yesterday and brought in Calvin Ridley, the Atlanta Falcons receiver, who was pretty good up until the whole oops, I gambled on some games while I was away on a mental health break and got suspended. Calvin Ridley is going to be added to the mix when that suspension runs up. They also, because they got so many draft picks to allow Philadelphia to get Jalen Hurts, have a young man that they drafted by the name of Jalen Waddle, who's also a stud. Up in Philly, the Eagles decided to make some moves too. So they went and they got a cat by the name of A.J. Brown. They also went ahead and drafted a Heisman Trophy winner in Devontae Smith. Third year, upgraded 2 wide receivers, gave him time to learn the game. Both guys in their third year are undefeated this year in the NFL.
I think you missed the most important thing out of it all that they have in common. They both come from a school where winning is a tradition, unlike Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, I'd say winning was a pretty good damn tradition for Trevor Lawrence.
No, it was a new thing for them. I mean, it wasn't new. It wasn't new for him.
Lost the game until he got to the NFL.
It wasn't new for him.
It wasn't a tradition. It was the only thing.
It wasn't new for him.
Right.
But he was at a school where winning was a new thing. So the other guys went to a school that winning is every year. So I had critiques of him going into the NFL, and those have panned out. He's not what everyone thinks he is. If he's surrounded by a good team, he's still going to be in your favorite place in all the world to be, and that's Jacksonville. And you can't win there.
no team is cursed. Curses aren't real.
All right, so towns or not? I mean,
no, Jacksonville just sucks as a
yeah,
place.
yeah, okay. So if it sucks as a place, it makes sense that if you're there, some of that might get on you.
Jacksonville's just managed really poorly. If I ask you to name, and I'm asking you guys, the listening audience as a whole, name me who's the number one wide receiver in Jacksonville right now. Because all of you can tell me Miami's. The majority of you can tell me Philly's. Who's Jacksonville's?
Travis Etienne.
Might as well be. Remember, you should know, because not you, like the royal audience, you should know, because we made a fat deal out of the fact that Jacksonville paid all that money for Christian Kirk. That's who they gave to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well done, Jesse, in the chat. He nailed it. He got it. Trevor's going into year 3.
So I mean, so did everybody's in there.
The folks who listen to the stream, that's VIP. They know what they're doing. The point is, Jalen Tua, 3rd year. They got him weapons. They both busted out this year. Next year is Trevor's 3rd year, and they just got him a weapon. This year's a bust. Look out for TL16 next year. I know it hurts to wait, but be patient. Emily Adams of the Greenville News next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
So the most important thing that Rob left out is that those 2 quarterbacks were not supposed to do anything in the NFL, and Trevor was.
Jalen Hurts they traded up for Jalen Hurts in the 1st round.
Dude, and then all you hear every year is how they're going to get rid of him. Same thing with Tua. Neither one of those had the expectations on them that Trevor Lawrence had on him. Not even close. Not even close.
I would disagree with that. All right, hang on, Texter. Got to give Lonzo a phone number. We'll be Texter? Stream.
Texter?
Hang on. We'll be right back. Hang on.
Our Twitter handle is @CBS.
Yeah, neither one of those quarterbacks were projected to do anything like what they're doing right now, whereas Trevor was projected to do that. And the thing that happened to him, the worst thing that could ever happen to him, is that he went to Jacksonville. You know, and good for them for playing as well as they are. And I don't dislike Trevor Lawrence. I wish he would do well, but I just don't think he's going to do what everyone thought he would until he gets past his rookie contract and he goes somewhere else. And then look out.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 6.99% APR to 21.49% APR, including 0.5% ROP discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Are you ready to tackle your banking needs? HomeTrust Bank's team of expert advisors and lenders want to be your teammate. We want to hear your story, learn your aspirations, and assist you with financial needs, and provide options that are tailored to you. With a wide range of personal, mortgage, and commercial services, you will discover all.
Yeah, Steven, I'm trying to get him to go with the smaller jar because I'm kind of worried about him eating that whole thing. But would it have the same amount of calories if he would have eaten an entire large pizza? Extra large pizza from Papa John's. I mean, how many calories does that have? I don't know if it has that many, but it probably has a bunch. How many calories do you think an extra large pizza from Papa John's would have?
I thought you were asking Emily, and I'm like, that's weird small talk, but I like it. 2,200.
Because people are pointing out how many calories are in the mayonnaise.
Extra large Papa John's pizza is 330 calories per slice. Wow.
Hello. How are you today? I am wonderful. We got about 2 minutes, and then I'll be right with you. So, how many slices are in an extra large?
Steven says there's 6,280.
Right, which is
calories.
why I was asking about the pizza. Would a pizza have more
Like
calories than
a
that?
third of that.
See, I'm worried. I am genuinely worried that this would be bad for you to eat a full jar of mayonnaise.
You would need to jog for 14 hours to get that jar of calories off.
You basically have to become
Is it
Forrest
safe
Gump
to eat a whole jar of mayonnaise? And of course, somebody asked that question word for word on Reddit.
Of course they did.
The first answer is not for your toilet. Second comment, how about let's not find out? Third comment, do you need to speak to a crisis line? Okay. I might have to pick again because a verified by Twitter.
Dude, I'm verified by Twitter. I don't know what that means.
Sorry, by Reddit, where you have to provide proof to be verified.
Okay.
Not verified as a doctor, is saying that your body can go into lipid shock from ingesting that much fat. Your body will ultimately rebel. It will treat what you've done as a poisoning, and you'll probably have the diarrhea of your life to rival anything a colonoscopy or cholera can give you.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
of your life.
I'm gonna go get the box.
But you would have been okay if I had to do it.
No, I don't know that I would have researched it, but I'm glad I did.
It was your idea.
Yeah, I think I'm going to draw again. We'll talk about this after our interview with Emily. All right. I need you guys to stick around and make sure that you are here for the next segment. Because I have just read something that I may genuinely call a health and safety exemption on my lost bet. Like, may genuinely call I'm not being sarcastic, this could kill me exemption on my bet.
I don't know that this causes for redrawing. I think maybe I get to choose because you're backing out on the bet, which would put it in.
I feel like potential death is a good reason to
Oh,
back out.
no. I am fine with you backing out, but I may not be fine with leaving it to chance again. I think so. You're kind of reneging on the bet. So that puts it in my purview or whatever word you want to use to be able to choose your
No,
punishment.
because you're sending me Mad World Saturday is what you're doing.
Oh, no, I'm not.
No?
No.
Then you're making me go barefoot for a show.
Yes, I am.
All right.
We got Emily. You need to.
All right. Yeah, we're going to talk to Emily. We'll talk about that to start the next hour. In fact, I'll even let Emily weigh in on this. Emily Adams from the Greenville News covers South Carolina athletics over in Columbia. She joins us every Wednesday to talk a little football. Hello, Emily.
Hi, Rob. What are you bringing me into today?
Okay, so let me give you the situation and get your thoughts on this. Every Friday, Lonzo and I pick against the spread 5 college games, 5 NFL games. The loser has to draw a punishment out of a box full of punishments that we put together at the beginning of the year. One of the punishments in the box was that a loser would have to eat an entire jar of mayo, like 32 ounces, over the course of a show, which I drew earlier in the week and was going to do on tomorrow's show. I had no problem with it, except for I just read a write-up by a gastroenterologist or whatever the gut doctor is that said basically don't do this because it's so loaded with saturated fat that if you have any sort of comorbidities, any sort of underlying illness you don't know about, you could shock your system into lipid shock, or you could die due to electrolyte loss because the fats eat up the electrolytes and you can't replace them fast enough to do it. So I have said that due to the fact that death is a possible repercussion from this, I should be allowed to draw another punishment from the box. Lonzo says that is reneging on a bet, that I'm backing out of a bet, and so he's fine with me switching the punishment, but he should be allowed to select which punishment I have to go through, mainly so he can give me the other one that I really, really don't want to do. What is your position on this?
Okay, this is a tough. I think I like the trade-off of if you're going to switch it, that Lonzo gets to pick it. However, I feel like the original bet can be modified to make it less dangerous, right? Like, does it have to be like a gallon of mayo? Can it be like a small jar of mayo? I feel like that seems safer for everyone involved.
That would be the other possibility, is downshift it to a 16-ounce jar of mayo. But that is still, Emily, that is still like 3,300 calories, half of them from fat, and would still result in me being located in one room in my house for the majority of the night, if you get what I'm saying.
Hey, I think that is a choice that you have to make for yourself. Can you handle 16 ounces of mayo, or are you willing to accept whatever Lonzo bestows upon you?
All right. Emily's got it. We'll talk about this in the next segment. But on to much more important things, Emily Adams, I will start with a very simple yet eloquent question about the game against Missouri. And I will phrase it as politically correctly as I can. What the hell, man? What was that?
Yep, that was pretty much all of our reactions sitting up in the box as well. I don't even know if it was a surprise just as much as it was a very sad collapse into bad. It was not a fun game to watch. It was not a fun game to talk to anyone after. It was bad. It was really, really bad.
I heard, as a matter of fact, I was listening to the post-game press conference, and I heard the question from one Emily Adams directed to Shane Beamer about Spencer Rattler. And I loved it because it was a topic that you and I spoke about last Thursday when we talked about Spencer Rattler. And, he's not giving us what we expected. Is this a system problem? Is it a Spencer problem? Is it a offensive coordinator problem? And, I heard Shane kind of deflect your question and basically say, we're talking and we're working on figuring it out, et cetera. But, for the first time, as I think an optimist, Emily, am kind of thinking maybe at Vandy you give Luke Doty his chance. Lonzo's concern is that Spencer Rattler wouldn't be able to handle mentally losing his starting job at a second school in back-to-back years, and he would not be able to come back. But my thing is, would he be able to come back and be any worse than he's playing right now? After that game and after talking to Shane, where are you falling on the Spencer Rattler discussion?
Yeah, I'll give you the conclusion that I think I've come to over the last couple of days, which is that Spencer is exactly what I think everyone should have expected him to be. I think, again, I still think that, calls for Luke Doty to start are not necessarily, the right avenue at this point. I think Lonzo's right that is, a lot on a 21-year-old kid to lose a starting job at two different schools in 2 consecutive years. I don't think Shane wants to do that to him. I don't think Marcus wants to do that to him. I would be very, very, very surprised to see. I think he is the starter at least until the end of the year, and then pending obviously what he decides to do come the spring. But I think where I'm falling on this is that the issues that Spencer has are the same issues that he had at Oklahoma. And so South Carolina knew what they were getting. And I think the problem right now is that they are scheming and planning for a quarterback that they want to have and not the one that they actually have. They want Spencer to be the best player on this team. They want Spencer to be, what he was coming out of high school, what he was that first year at Oklahoma. And he's just not, and that's fine. Like he's still good. I think Spencer Rattler is still a good quarterback. I think the problem is that South Carolina isn't leaning into who its best players are. It's not, we saw the run game had, obviously Marshawn Lloyd missed a little bit of time with that contusion he's got on his quad against Missouri, but he was in for most of the game, ended with 30 yards rushing. Team as a whole ends with 32. And to me, Marshawn Lloyd is clearly the best player on this team. So it's I think to me, they're not leaning into those adjustments and leaning into what they're good at. They're trying to force Spencer to be something that he's not anymore. And I think he would look a lot better if that wasn't the case.
We are talking to Emily Adams. She covers the Gamecocks for the Greenville News over in Columbia. The second obvious discussion that's going on right now is obviously Marcus Satterfield. I was scrolling the message boards and all that, and obviously we know that it's only the loudest and most passionate fans that are on the boards, but there is an ever-growing call for Shane Beamer to make a change at offensive coordinator, and now it's grown into, if Beamer won't make the change at OC, that Ray Tanner should step in and do it for him. It sounded to me like Beamer has kind of been organizing some very loose defenses of Marcus Satterfield so far, but if the offense does not pick it up, especially in what I think now becomes a must-win game at Vandy, because if you can't beat Vanderbilt, Florida is much better than Vandy. And Tennessee is the number 1 team in the country, according to the playoff poll. And obviously, Clemson at the end of the year is also a playoff team right now. If things don't go well against Vanderbilt, do you think that might be the final nail in the coffin for Marcus Lattimore or Satterfield? Pardon me.
I think Sat is here until the end of the season, just based on what Beamer said the last couple of days. I think something really drastic would have to change for Sat to be gone mid-season. I think especially because, he and Beamer are friends, and, it's changing coordinators in the middle of a season is not something that's done often. So I would be very, very surprised at this point, just based on how Beamer has seen the last couple of days, to see Marcus gone before the end of the year. After that, I think we're getting to the point where if Shane sticks with him for another year, there are going to be questions. And, I think that is, in a way, if he keeps Marcus for 2023, I think he is in some ways betting his own tenure here on that. And I think he knows that right now. I think he has been a lot more frank the last couple of weeks about, I'm hearing the criticism, I understand the frustration, all of that. And I think it's just something that isn't going to happen mid-season. I think that's would be a big shakeup to have for the program with 4 weeks left in the season. I don't think it's going to, it's not going to fix things with 4 weeks left in the season. So I think, the attention on that is gonna really come when his contract is up at the end of this year.
Emily Adams here on the show. You said something right there in the middle that I find intriguing, mainly because I agree with it, though it's the first time I've really kind of deep dived into thinking about it. And it is that if Sat stays around, it would be on it feels like pretty much Beamer's authority and nobody else's, which means he is kind of staking his career on Satterfield being better and progressing the offense in the offseason into next season. My concern there is to segue into another question that has become a massive discussion point for Gamecocks fans. Jaheim Bell. Jaheim Bell played 16 snaps against Mizzou, has not played more than 16 snaps in the last 4 games, including one where he played just 14. This is a guy that was expected to be as high as a first-round NFL draft pick based on productions this season, and he's just not really seeing the field. Shane Beamer said it was all about personnel and groupings, etc. My response would be, well, you better start coming up with some personnel and groupings that get arguably your most talented offensive player on the field. Jaheim has done an interview where he's talked out about it. You know, he's kind of given the party line of, you know, my job is to do what's asked of me and be the best player I can be. But his family's been popping off on Twitter. Fans have started to ask questions about him. In fact, I think he was one of the only players who was specifically asked about by name after the Mizzou game. What are your thoughts on why Jaheim Bell has basically not been made a part of this offense this year for the most part?
Yeah, it's inexplicable, honestly. And I've been talking about it for, all this week. I mean, Jaheim this was his first game with no stats, but like he's been an extremely minor role player this year, really. We've seen, obviously, Austin Stogner is a better blocker than Jaheim. He's capable of pass catching. I get why he's in the rotation so much, but the fact that Bell, and it's not even that Bell isn't getting touches because, most of the receivers aren't getting consistent reps. Like we're not seeing one standout rise to the top of, this is Spencer's favorite target or whatever. So that target share and all of that doesn't concern me as much. The fact that he's not on the field, the fact that he's taking, well under half of the snaps is, I cannot come up with an explanation that makes sense for that because, again, even if you're not going to get him the ball, that kid is going to be at the top of every opposing team scouting report if they watched any film from last year. And, you're just, by taking him off the field, defenses don't have to account for him. It just puts all of your other players, it increases the target on their back. So I don't get it from a football standpoint. I don't get it from a personnel standpoint. It's a really bizarre choice. And it's even more bizarre, honestly, based on what everyone inside the program has said. None of them seem to have an answer for why he's not on the field ever. Shane keeps saying, well, we need to get our best players the ball and we need to get Jaheim Bell the ball more. And then it's not happening. Marcus was asked last week before Missouri about Jaheim and why he has been so uninvolved. And, Marcus basically said the same thing, said, I would love to see Jaheim involved more. He's the most talented player I've ever worked with. And then he had no stats against Missouri. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating to have to keep asking about, honestly, I think for us, because we're getting answers that don't answer the question. And it feels like nobody knows why he's not playing. He doesn't know. The coaches don't know. And we don't know. So it's just kind of this big mess all around him right now.
Emily Adams from the Greenville News joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. Last one, Emily, and it is this. I'm a big words guy. I think both you and I are words people. That's why we got into part of the reason why we got into the business we got into. And I pay attention to not just what people say, but the words they select to say it. In the presser, Shane was asked about Jaheim Bell and a couple of other guys, and he said that they need to get the ball into the hands of the playmakers more. They need to make sure they're running it right. It was the first time that Shane Beamer kind of made word selections that made it sound like he was maybe trying to separate, maybe distance himself a little bit from the way the offense has been working. Is that typically the way Shane Beamer speaks? Have I just not paid enough attention and it's always been they? Or does it feel to you like Shane maybe is kind of feeling a little bit of the heat right now and trying to avoid that?
No, I think that's a good observation, and it's something I think a lot of the beat writers have talked about over the last couple of weeks. It is Shane, I wouldn't say he started to turn on Marcus, but his defense of Marcus has gotten less full-throated. I think before he was very protective of Marcus. He was very quick to, take blame himself for, offensive decisions that were criticized. He was, very quick to stand up for his staff. And again, that's not to say he's not doing that now. He definitely, he did do that, talking about personnel packages with Jaheim. But I think now he's at a point where he's maybe a little bit more willing to be critical of that and of kind of that offensive staff in general. Because I think he sees that it's not working. He sees that it's not getting better. I think that's the biggest issue right now, is that the offense looks the same week to week, and the difference in whether they win or lose a game is whether the defense and special teams come through. And so I think that lack of improvement, you can tell he is frustrated with to some degree. He's said as much. He said, that Missouri was really frustrating. He said that, the way the offense has been frustrating. So I think he's certainly souring a little bit, but I don't think we're ever going to hear him fully, back away from Marcus, from that offensive group, until, somebody's fired.
Emily Adams covers the Gamecocks of South Carolina for the Greenville News. She's based over in Columbia, and you can and should follow her on the social media at EAAdams6. Emily, you are fantastic. I appreciate it, and we will talk to you next week.
Alrighty, thanks, Rob.
Always. That is Emily Adams. Make sure you follow her on social media, again, at EAAdams6. Let's take a break. When we come back, you read my mind. Great one.
Well, I didn't want to do it in the middle of
No, that was the correct way to handle it.
So,
Go ahead and breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, beat the books, and use BetQL on the BetQL app, or listen to the podcast on the Odyssey app. And this Monday night during the Saints-Ravens game, I will be hosting a live chat for Monday Night Football on the BetQL app. So make sure you download that and participate in that free chat. Lonzo, the floor is yours.
According to Adam Schefter, which, means according to the NFL,
Safety bomb!
The Washington Commanders have hired Bank of America Securities to consider potential transactions. Does that mean they just want them to buy stuff for them? Or does that mean that they're selling the team?
Reports right now are that Dan Snyder has hired Bank of America Securities to consider potential transactions, and the overwhelming thought squad right now on Twitter believes that means that Dan Snyder is looking into selling the Washington Commanders, and that they may be changing ownership soon. Here's what's really interesting about this. Dan Snyder might be selling the team. Dan Snyder, of course, was the guy who was adamant they were going to never change the name of the team. They did. They were never going to allow the NFL to conduct a full-scale investigation. They did. And then he was adamant he was never going to sell the team, and here we are. And the NFL is not pushing back against this, right? Like, ordinarily, if an owner is going to sell or make a move this big, the NFL would get involved. If Dan Snyder was looking at making any move except selling, I think the NFL would be directly involved, and they'd already have something to say about it. The fact that they do not leads me to believe that this is absolutely Dan Snyder setting himself up to sell the football team. Good riddance. Take the $6.5-7 billion you're about to make and disappear, man. Let's take a break. When we come back, I have now got it from a doctor that eating an entire 32-ounce jar of mayo could realistically kill me.
All right, we're still going with the Reddit doctor, not an actual doctor.
A verified via documentation by Reddit doctor saying that the 6,600 calories half of it from saturated fat in a jar of mayo could literally kill me. So the options are do it anyway, switch it down to a 16-ounce jar and take the risk, allow me to draw another punishment, or allow Lonzo to select his punishment for me out of the box. Which one should happen? We'll bring that up next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Thursday, sunny high of 72, and Friday, sunshine high of 72. For the weekend, cloud cover with highs in the mid-70s. Meteorologist Jennifer Buchinski on the Fan Upstate. Currently, it's 60.
And now, Mark Ryan's Morning Sports Spin.
So Shane Beamer has a challenge in front of him right now because, folks, I think he took his first misstep as South Carolina's head coach. With how he answered the question, do you plan to make any changes in terms of who may be calling plays? Instead of answering the question, he just said no. And this is an issue we can all relate to, right? Like Fortune 500 company CEOs say today that the young kids out of college, they don't handle conflict and they don't communicate that well. What would you do if one of your best friends wasn't performing on the job? See, that's Shane Beamer's predicament. He was in offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield's wedding, and they're not performing, and they're not performing well. 116th in offense last season, 208 total yards in a loss against Missouri last Saturday. So what do? How do you handle it? Because if Shane Beamer doesn't do something, the arrows Gamecock fans have pointed at Marcus Satterfield could soon be pointed his way. I'm Mark Ryan.
On Sides with Mark Ryan this afternoon, 3 to 7 on the Fan.
Yes, Sam, when we got done with the pod, I had a few more things I had to do at the computer, so I went to Spotify, and I opened up a WWE intro song playlist and was just listening to it. And the Degeneration X theme came on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just immediately and very loudly with the shut door said, let's get ready to suck it. And Courtney, who never opens my door, if the door's shut, she knows like I'm probably recording or about to. So like text me and I'll tell you if I'm, I'll take a break to come out or whatever. Opens the door and she goes, what are you doing? I'm like, you would not understand. I don't know how to explain it to you. I don't know how to explain this to you.
Well, all their matches are on the Peacock Network. You could just show it. Yeah, you can show it to her, I guess. I don't know. You think I should let them pick again? I was just kidding about I should get to pick the thing. I don't know. It's a new game. It's new territory. I mean, you got to make it up as you go, and the rules are not written. So, I mean, it's like a gentleman's agreement, I guess.
What's that?
The thing that I was just talking about.
Which was what?
The thing that I was just talking. I'm not going to tell you. So what? You thought I was talking about you?
I mean, you won't tell me what you were saying, so yes.
All right, I'm confused. Did I do it again? I think I did. Tack on it.
What?
I think I saved number 2 over number 1, and just, well, one way to find out. Let's do what I did yesterday. Just open it up and see if it's the same wave. I'll be down for that, Steven. I don't think he would.
No. No, I'd rather Alonzo. All right, so here's the situation. I lost my Boo Box bet selection. Or bets. I had to draw. The draw I had was eat a jar of Duke's Mayo during the show. I have had a couple of people over the last 24 hours tell me that's a terrible idea.
I also want to point out,
including Lonzo.
I've been telling you this entire time, that's too much.
Yeah, including Lonzo. And I wrote it off. I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. Like, it's going to suck. Like, it's going to suck. I like Duke's. It's still going to suck. This is not going to be fun. But that's the point of a punishment, right? I have waxed the hair off of my leg. I have eaten Vegemite. The point of a punishment is to suffer a little bit. During the show today, as I was trying to put together my strategy to knock out 32 ounces of mayonnaise tomorrow, I decided to Google the question, is it safe to eat 32 ounces of mayo? And wouldn't you know it, because it is a place of enjoyment and torture, someone on Reddit had previously asked that question literally word for word. And the very top response to that was from a gut doctor, right? And what, gastroenterologist or whatever it is. And their response was, don't do this. Don't do it. And their response went, because of the amount of saturated fat, which is about 3,300 calories of just saturated fat. Because of the amount of saturated fat, it could send your body into lipid shock, which would create a world of problems up to and including if there are underlying health issues you don't know about, which, look at me, there probably are. If there are underlying health issues you are unaware of, could kill you. And if that doesn't, apparently the saturated fats eat up electrolytes and would absorb the electrolytes in your body at a rate faster than you can replace them. It could send you into electrolyte shock, which, if there are underlying health issues, could also kill you. This doctor, verified and certified on Reddit as a doctor, so qualified to speak on these things without having their comments removed, as they usually are, said, don't freaking do this. Unless you are perfectly healthy, it could kill you. And even if you are perfectly healthy, he said it will give you a bout of toilet wrestling that would feel like every sin you've ever committed is being purged from your body at once.
That could be bad for you right there.
Yeah.
It could.
Yeah.
Listen, I am very sympathetic. And here's the reason why. And this is the reason why I've been trying to get you to go to a smaller size anyway. Is I think like 15 years ago, I was dared on the air to eat haggis and live at Fall for Greenville. And I did it with a crowd around me, but I didn't research it to find out what it would do to my body. And during the time I had extreme gout, and it caused me to have an attack so bad that I ended up in the hospital. So I don't want to see that happen to you. So I have no problem with you changing this, but I also wonder if the shoe was on the other foot and it was me, would you have the same sympathy? Because
after having read that, hell yeah. Listen, I am the one who sits.
And because of this, can we take the syrup out of there? Because I'm guessing it's just as
probably
bad.
Not the same.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we might reserve the eating challenges to spicy things and pizza.
Yeah. I think you're good there.
Yeah. I think we go spicy things and pizza. I'm going to go with mayo and syrup gets taken out of the box. So the question then becomes, does Rob A, just redraw another punishment with everything in the box available? Or B, does Lonzo get to select his punishment of choice for me? This is one of those times that I'm like, here's a question we're going to ask. But I don't need to ask the question on air because the answer is going to be let Lonzo pick because he's going to know what the worst one is and pick that.
I actually I've reconsidered. I've got it narrowed down to 2, and I was just going to flip a coin.
It's Feed or Mad World.
Yeah, and I was going to flip a coin and let you pick which one.
I am going to tell you that, and this is not me copping out of that. This is because up until 10 minutes ago, I did not know that was going to be on the table. I have a commitment on Saturday, so I would not be able to make it because I've got the Burns game Friday. If I had either night off, I would 100% allow that to be the case. But I've got a commitment on Saturday, so unfortunately, because I wasn't going.
So you've made the choice for yourself. If I'm the one who chooses.
Texas says Joey Chestnut eats approximately 504 grams of saturated fat during a hot dog contest, but he's a professional. Right. Getting punched in the face by Brock Lesnar, it's a bad thing. But if I was a life-trained heavyweight MMAer, I would be willing to do that. I'm not, so I'm not, right? Like I've not worked up to that, to my body being used to that.
Is MMAer, is that that's
that's what
I mean, I got it. So I mean,
Texas says, fan, redraw Lonzo's barefoot pick is easy. I don't think you understand.
They don't.
I don't think you understand where I am coming from. Lonzo and I, since we have teamed up on this show, have had probably 2 like genuine issues, right? One of them was about something related to the podcast, which you and I took about a half an hour, very serious conversation to come to a compromise on. And the fact that one day Lonzo had his bare freaking feet up on the desk, and I was like, no, that's not even my desk, but get them down. And so it was like, what's the big deal?
It's my desk, and you know what? I ate food off of it like the next day.
That's the point.
You know why? Because I don't lay my food on the desk and eat. Just like I don't eat off the floor, and just like I don't use my feet to eat with.
No. Listen.
Don't make no sense, man.
I don't have like a foot phobia. Like if someone else is barefoot, I'm like, I have to leave right now. But if you touch me with your foot, you're getting hit with a pillow in the face. All right.
That was oddly specific.
Yeah, it's because there's only one person that tries to do it to me. Right? Dude, I don't want to touch your foot.
That was also oddly specific.
I don't want to touch anything that has to do with your foot. Hey, can you bring me my shoes? No, I would rather grab the bottom of your shoe that you just walked through a yard with than grab the inside of it.
And you're not the only one. I didn't realize that I had a problem that I used to share an office with 2 people who have feet phobia. And it's you and Chris Evans. You guys both just cannot stand it.
Yeah.
And you make a mistake when you tell me something bothers you, and that's on you. That's not on me.
Let me put it this way: you want to know I've been in a band 15 years. We've had 3 fights, right? You want to know what the honest to God biggest fight was we've ever had? My lead singer performs gigs barefooted, right? He performs his gigs barefooted. Well, on about 4 songs where I go sing lead, he plays my guitar. Playing my guitar for specific songs requires you to hit the pedal board, right? He, in a show, used my pedal board barefooted. I was freaking ticked. I literally, the next night show at Juana's Bar in Navarre, the next night, Lonzo, I brought 1 flip-flop and put it by my pedal board. And I'm like, when you need to change settings, put that on, hit it, take that back off. He was like, dude, that's ridiculous. I'm not doing that. I'm like, well, then don't use my pedal board. Well, then how am I going to play guitar? I don't know. Play your own damn guitar. I don't know what to tell you. Either use a flip-flop or don't touch my pedal board. See, this guy's my best friend.
Yeah.
My best friend.
You are proving my point about the phobia, because that's it's a little out there, Rob. It really is. I mean, and your emotion when it involves feet which is why I got so excited when feet were brought up yesterday when we were looking for a punishment, because I know how bad this bothers you, and I think it's irrational. It doesn't make sense. And
it does. It's your foot. It's gross.
It doesn't make sense at all.
It's gross.
What do you tell those people who were born without arms and have to use their feet to do everything?
I don't know. Pay somebody to help you. I don't know. Figure something out. I don't know what to tell you. I could not. I'd be like, you know what? Just put the food on the table. I'll just bob for everything I have to eat. Right? How are you going to get dressed? I don't know. I'll go out naked.
So now if you decided to go for the fan vote, you just doomed yourself.
Yeah. And listen, it is what it is. Right? It is what it is. And by the way, the fan vote was overwhelmingly let Lonzo pick. Like, I'm not even wasting my time counting it. I can see that it won by pretty much all the votes to like 2. And the 2 that voted both wanted to see me eat the Ghost Reaper chip. So, like, it was just pain and suffering was the pick. Whatever makes you suffer more.
Yeah, that's the point of punishment. That is the point of punishment. It should not be, hey, I just ate a whole pizza. That's not punishment. Punishment is 3 hours of no shoes on and having to go to the restroom, because you can't go 3 hours without drinking something. You cannot do that. You can't.
I want you all to know what this entails for me. What this entails for me means when I sit in this chair, I'm not getting up, right? I will wear my shoes. By the way, my fully whole, not a flip-flop shoe to work. When the show starts, I will remove them in this chair. My feet will be dangling because I'm not putting them on the little footrest, because I know some other hosts use this chair and do so barefooted. So my feet are going to dangle, and for 3 hours, I am trapped with dangly feet in this chair because I ain't walking on this gross-ass floor with no feet or with no shoes.
I told Rob Jones to keep his shoes on, but you know.
So, Zoe, I will leave it up to you. I can draw again, or you can make me do that.
You know what? I think, like most good or bad things, we should let it linger, because we have one more segment. We do. We can forego Twitter trending topics because it's kind of,
we didn't do it yesterday.
Yeah, but it's kind of light today. I mean, and we can take that opportunity for me either to give you the punishment or allow you to pick. Or you could do the mayonnaise, man. I'm still worried about the mayonnaise. You could go a smaller jar of mayonnaise.
Texter says, so the list grows. Rob hates kids, Clemson, and feet.
And Urban Meyer and Jacksonville and Tim Tebow.
I love kids. I want Clemson to win all their games so that I get paid more. And yes, I hate feet. That's a fact. That's a fact. It's a fact.
Knows he didn't discount anything I said, though.
Texter said, Rob, Lonzo should go barefoot while Rob eats the mayo and looks at his feet. Looking at a foot doesn't do anything to me, right? Looking at a foot is
does
fine.
If it's naked and it's on the furniture.
That does, right? Like that does. That does.
How do you spend any time in Stoneman's office? I
don't. I talk to him from the freaking door.
Okay. All right.
Well, the only time I've ever mean to Stoneman is when he comes down the hall not wearing shoes. Which most of the time he's in flip-flops, which at least you're not letting your foot touch stuff.
Sometimes the cold of the floor, just it's comforting.
Texter said, I tried on my buddy's shoe because he said it was comfortable and I wanted to try it. For the record, he offered if I wanted to try them. I don't know what the rest of that text is, but I don't want to read it. I don't want to read it. Somebody else gave you their shoe and you just put their shoe on.
So, Rob, you're saying you would never walk a mile in another man's shoes?
Literally? No. I'll walk it barefoot before I put another person's shoe on my foot. But again, if I have to do that, you guys know I go off the screen like at least once an hour to go to the bathroom. I cannot do that. If there is one thing, you know what the ultimate punishment would be? Walk in the bathroom without shoes on.
I can't remember if it's tomorrow or next Thursday, but we're getting carpet in here. So, I mean, it wouldn't be like you're putting your feet on the.
Yeah, and then all you savages are going to be barefoot all the damn time.
Yeah, but it'd be brand new carpet. You would be like, it's virgin carpet.
Texter said, that is totally blanking nasty, totally out of bounds, borderline to go to HR and get your ass in trouble.
Which part?
I'm assuming the making me go barefoot part.
That's how I feel about it. There's no making. Neither one of us can physically make the other one do anything.
JT and Greer says, do I hear Rob trying to wimp out? No, I'm trying not to get my ass unalived. I'm trying to avoid not doing the big dead. I like it on this side of the grass. I'd like to stay here for at least another couple of years.
Yeah, you don't want to go the other way and find out if he was right or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Rob Brown, radio host, friend, lover of Mayo, hater of feet, and correct. I don't need that being on the tombstone.
I'll make sure that there's a big old Dukes thing on your tombstone, though. I'll personally pay for that.
Texter says, Rob, what do you do when you have to try on shoes? You want the honest answer to that? I don't try on shoes. I have worn the same brand of sneakers for about 17 years now. Do you know why? Because I know exactly what my size and style is. Exactly what my size and style is. I have worn Adidas for 15. I don't even love Adidas. I don't love Adidas. I like them. They're fine. I don't know. I've worn the same brand of shoes for like 15 years so that I don't have to try on shoes. I had to go try on shoes last weekend because I've got to have a new pair of black dress shoes. And I had to try on a pair. And I was like, who? Those socks got washed the moment I got
Someone
home.
on our Twitter has commented on something, and their Twitter handle is Chalupa Batman.
That's my own co-host, by the way.
Yeah, but still, that's an awesome hand. Chalupa Batman. That's just wicked.
Texter said, in the name of science, you should do the Mayo Challenge. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say the science is settled there. Texter says it's a flat earth, eat the mayo and be done.
He read it on Reddit, so it's got to be true.
You won't take it? You won't take that chance? Yes, correct. Let's go to break. That's correct. Oh. Texas said I would 100% report you to HR if I saw you walking around the office barefoot. I'd report everybody I work with, Texter.
Yeah, we don't know who HR is, so it'd be kind of hard. Kind of hard to do.
Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Brandon said, danger Mayo. I missed something. 32 ounces is a bit much, but I feel like a pint would be more than sufficient. A pint is 16 ounces. Which is the half jar.
A smaller version, I think, would work. But
so for those of you that have just checked into the stream and have missed what is happening right now, after like the 37th warning from friends and family that this is a dumb thing to do.
Exaggeration.
I Googled, is it safe to eat a whole jar of mayo? And somebody on Reddit answered that question. And another person who has been certified by the moderators of that subreddit I was looking at as a gastrointestinal doctor said, do not do that. Do not eat a full jar of mayo. With the reason being that there is so much saturated fat within the jar of mayo that it will send you into lipid shock, which could kill you if you have underlying and undiagnosed health issues.
Hey, what the heck is a lipid?
A lipid, it's a fat. Which, again, look at me, I probably do, right? He said, if the lipid shock that your body could go into doesn't kill you, saturated fats consume electrolytes. And your electrolyte level could drop to 0, which is not conducive to breathing any longer. And if you have underlying health conditions, the electrolyte diminishment could end up killing you. A doctor said, absolutely do not do this. They said, even if you are in perfect health, right? Perfect health. That if you're in perfect health, It will give you diarrhea so bad, his words, not mine. It will feel like the consequences of every sin you've ever committed are being expelled from your body at once. There's multiple problems with that. Number one, dead. Number two is all 3 nights, tonight, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday.
So it's an exorcism enema.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Tonight, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, I have work functions all 4 nights, right? I cannot not attend them because I'm in the crapper being martyred by mayonnaise, all right?
I want to point something out here. Did anybody, with my 5 straight weeks or whatever it was, or 4, hear me try to get out of the punishment as much as Rob is doing right now?
Lonzo, a man bun will not send you into anaphylactic shock.
My head's still sore. It is. Right up here.
And
I
when
feel
you
it.
got to the end of that day and we're complaining about your head hurting, I told you with like an hour left, you can drop it now. You've done 2 hours. That seems like enough.
But I didn't. You know why? Because I wanted to pay my debt.
So the question, and this is your y'all's last chance to chime in.
I also want to point out that my hatred for REO Speedwagon has escalated.
Oh my God, the parody song is "You've Got the Runs, Baby." So, at the risk of A, dying, or B, having to miss a professional event because I am locked in the bathroom with the worst case of it I've ever had, I allowed you guys to make the decision. Do I redraw, or do I allow Lonzo to pick the bet loss punishment that he personally would like to subject me to? There are plenty of punishments still in the box.
No, Trey. No.
We are also taking the syrup bet out of the box for the exact same reason. But the 1-chip challenge would be in the box. The Reaper salsa would be in the box. The extra large Papa John's pizza would be in the box. I can't do Mad World because since I did not draw Mad World, I now have plans on Saturday night. All right, Lonzo, what are we doing?
All right, so normally what I would do, and I didn't think about this earlier, I would have let the boss decide.
You can text him if you want.
And the
it's
boss,
your decision.
The boss would probably do what he normally does and ask me to take care of it.
Yeah.
That's what the boss would do.
Yeah.
The boss would say, Lonzo, take care of that. And I would. You know why? Because I'm dependable. That's the kind of thing I do. I take care of stuff.
Stop drawing this out. What am I doing?
We got 3 minutes. Why not draw it out? We don't need Twitter. I like the suspense. I do. But I don't have the heart to not let you pick out of the box. I just can't do it. Now, I'm not sure that it would be that way the other way around, but that's fine. That's not how that works. I'm going to let him choose again. I do think he probably could have done a smaller thing, but I'm not going to ask someone to do something that I believe they think will be harmful for. So whether it will be or not,
I don't think it'll be harmful.
Oh, he believes it will be.
Disgusting.
He believes it will be. So
No, not the mayo, the feet thing.
The mayo. No, I'm talking about the mayo thing.
The mayo thing would be harmful.
Yes.
All right. So then I am redrawing. I am back in the boo box, giving the shuffle here. All right. This is one of yours, I can tell.
It's not. Is it the song?
It's the damn Vegemite.
That's not my fault. How do you keep picking the ones that you did? If you would like to take it out and only pick ones that I
I've
put,
already done it before.
You have. You're the one that
And
put it
you've
in
seen
there.
me. All right.
That's not my.
All right, one more. I will eventually. I will have a punishment. All right, here we go. No. No carbonated drinks for a week.
So that's just lame. But that's the one he
go
picked in
again.
there.
It's your call. I
That's the
will
one.
go
That's the
again.
one. No, it's all right. We're good.
I will go again.
No, we're good.
That takes my flavored waters out of the equation. That takes my monsters out of the equation. That takes beer out of the equation on a really good football weekend.
I do apologize to the listeners though. It's it's not really punishment. There are some things that he put in there that I don't consider punishment, but he drew it fair and square. That's fine.
These were suggested by listeners, not me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll draw again. I don't care.
No, we're good. We're good.
Ugh.
I mean, if you feel like that this is punishment, that's up to you.
Your choice. That or the feet. It's literally your choice.
I'm
right
not.
now.
No, I'm not going to do that.
That or the feet. Your choice.
Because this can be turned on me. And no. Eventually, when I lose again, like this week, I could be in a similar situation. And I think I have in my back pocket a reminder of how I don't want to say judicious, because that would mean that I'm in a position to be judicious. I was overly fair. That's all I want to say. And here's the other thing. All right, so I'm willing.
Texter said, make a damn poll, let democracy decide. I asked you guys 30 minutes ago to turn your answers in.
And they said for me to decide.
And everybody said, let Lonzo pick.
And I can't.
Lonzo decided not to do that.
I can't do the feet thing because it bothers them too much, even though I put it in there. I will say, with all the ones that you've thrown away, I think something should be removed from my box.
I just love that wearing your rival's t-shirt is on par with eating 6,000 calories of saturated fat.
Yes, it is.
I will, you know what? I'll allow it.
There we go.
I'll allow it.
My work here is done.
This was all a negotiation tactic by Lonzo.
It was all to get rid of the Michigan jersey.
3D chess, people.
I win.
So for those of you that are disappointed that I am not suffering enough, let it be known that Lonzo was doing that for his own benefit. He let me off the hook with what most of you guys consider a weak-ass punishment so that he could get off the hook for what he doesn't want to do the most. That's an excellent play, Lonzo. That's an excellent play. Texter said, boo, eat the mayo or eat the bleep bleep Vegemite, you commie. The mayo would die. I've already eaten Vegemite. You can watch the clip. I will go find it for you. All right, no carbonated beverages. When does it start? Tomorrow? Does it start Friday? Do I go Friday to Friday?
We'll decide tomorrow. We don't have time.
Back after this 21-hour break on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. LOL. Zoe had a plan all along. People, I'm going to give you this. I compliment Lonzo all the time, right? Because he's very, very good at what he does. Lonzo does this crap constantly where he's got an end game and he grabs you by the hand and walks you right to it. It's honestly impressive how many times I've seen him do that, where he's got this plan and you never see the outcome coming until he has hit you in the face with it, metaphorically speaking. That was really well done. Really well done. Here's the best part, and I'm just realizing this. He told me 3 times in the walk up to the final destination what the plan was, and it went right over my head. He told me 3 times in the lead up to it what the plan was, and it right over my head. Unbelievable. Very well done, Lonzo. Very well done. Texas says, Trey said, go to Mad World barefooted tonight. Barefooted tonight. No, they're open Friday and Saturday. If they would have been open tonight, I would have gone. I could have made it tonight, but they're not. They're open Friday and Saturday. If I would have drawn the Mad World slip any earlier in the season, then it would have been a go. Steven says no Reaper salsa. Rob's too busy to make it. I've already made it. I have not eaten a Reaper yet. I've made the salsa. I have not put a Reaper in it yet, but the salsa is phenomenal. To cut up and drop a whole Reaper in it is going to be terrifying if that's what I end up drawing. All right. That's it, kids. Thank you, guys. Well done. Good reference, James. Great reference, James. All right, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out. You are awesome. We will see you tomorrow.